Part 12. Swallowed Star, My Understanding is Beyond Belief. Author, Bo Yoon Song. Chapter 111. Soon after, the elevator stopped. Rorschach and his team followed the old man out of the elevator, and passed through 9 checkpoints before arriving at an empty hall. In this hall, people from all over the world gathered. Each of them was working attentively in front of the computer until Rorschach and his team arrived, and then they turned around excitedly and greeted them. Who? Welcome. This dull underground has finally changed a little. Welcome. When you come back, I think we will have an underground champagne party. Seeing these researchers so excited, the red-robed old man explained to Rorschach and his team, these guys have been underground for a long time, and it's rare to see outsiders, so they are a little excited. Now, gentlemen, are you ready? He said it in Chinese and English. Everyone nodded, indicating that there was no problem. The red-robed old man shouted loudly, very good, open the entrance passage. Ka-ka-ka. Right in front of the hall, the curved alloy wall suddenly cracked, revealing a circular passage. Inside the passage, it was a strange dark brown, like a passage formed by the entanglement of dead tree roots. Rorschach couldn't help but ask Babada in the wristband with his consciousness, Babada, are you sure this is the outpost of Meteorite? The style doesn't seem to be like it. The scene they saw underground in the Fog Island was a very sci-fi style. Diamond suit. But now, this twisted and dark passage, are you sure it's not the style of the ancient gods descending? Babada in the wristband rolled his eyes beautifully, this is not the entrance. Go inside, see, the glowing place, that's the entrance. At this time, the old man in the red robe also said, go straight along the passage and enter the glowing mirror. In fact, it's not a mirror, but the entrance to the ruins. Ah, Rorschach looked at the glowing position in the passage and said awkwardly, that's okay. Babada snorted. Luo Feng smiled and walked into the passage first. Luo Xia followed behind, and Tuoba Yan and other gods of war followed behind Luo Xia. As he stepped into the light mirror, it seemed that the earth and the stars moved. When Luo Xia stood still, he found that he and his elder brother Luo Feng had come to a black hall. Babada had emerged from the wristband at this time. Because there were only Luo Feng and Luo Xia in this hall. Suddenly, a hazy colorful light shone down from the sky, covering Luo Xia and Luo Feng. Then, a rhythmic and harsh sound sounded. /U0026 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 /U0026. Luo Feng was stunned, subconsciously looked at Babada and asked, what does this mean? Babada folded his hands, did not answer, but looked at Luo Xia and asked, Luo Xia, can you hear what this means? The meaning of the universal language alarm in the universe. Luo Xia touched his chin and said puzzledly, I am a little surprised, why did the alarm suddenly sound? He, Luo Feng, look, Luo Xia can hear that this is the universal language of the universe, but you still can't hear it. After you go back this time, you will increase the time you spend learning the universal language every day by 1 hour. Babada did not answer Luo Xia's question, but said to Luo Feng. Luo Feng smiled bitterly, then the time I talk to Su Xian. Don't worry, I will arrange the extra study time after you finish the phone call with Su Xian, Babada said helplessly. As soon as she finished speaking, crystal ropes as thick as fingers suddenly appeared above the hall. These ropes fell down and tied Luo Feng and Luo Xia. The two brothers subconsciously wanted to dodge. Babada suddenly waved her hand, and the crystal rope stopped immediately, and then slowly retreated. She smiled and explained, okay, I have contacted the intelligent host here now, let's go directly to No 9. Rorschach and Luo Feng followed Babada forward, wondering, No 9. Babada pointed forward, and the alloy wall in front suddenly cracked, revealing a passage. She flew in and said, the intelligence of this outpost was originally its own code name, but its original code name was too long, so I directly renamed it with the number of this relic. Rorschach and Lugofeng followed her. Oh, that's it? Lugofeng asked curiously, so, in this relic, there is another intelligent life like you. Number 9 is not an intelligent life. Babata led the way and explained, but it is also much more powerful than the intelligent program on your Earth. Enough to help you monitor the entire sea area of the Earth. Under her leadership, Rorschach and Lugofeng soon came to a hall full of misty colorful light. Master Babata. When Lugoxia and his companions entered the palace, the light began to condense and finally turned into a bald crystal man, who looked at Babata excitedly, his voice trembling. I didn't expect that I could see you again. May I ask the master? Number 9, the master fell with the meteorite. Babata said with a sad look. Really, the master? The bald crystal man was silent for a while. Lugoxia was surprised to see the emotional expression of the crystal man, and whispered to his elder brother, even if they have such emotions, they are not real intelligent life. Lugofeng nodded and looked at the bald crystal man and Babata, who were silent with each other. After a long while, the crystal man looked at Lugofeng and Lugoxia, and respectfully asked Babata, Master Babata, are these two the disciples of Yunmo star that you selected on Earth? Babata nodded. Speaking of this, her mood finally became a little more uplifted. She looked up slightly and said, Yes, Lugofeng and Lugoxia are the descendants of Yunmo star that I found for the master. They are the master's last two disciples. I see. The crystal man looked as if he had realized something, and then asked, Master Babata, you brought the two masters here this time. Is there anything I can do? Babata pointed at Lugoxia and said, Lugoxia wants to monitor the entire sea area of the Earth, so I need you to go out and help. I understand. The bald crystal man did not refuse. It also has no right to refuse. After Hu Yanbo was gone, Babata, or Lugofeng and Lugoxia, who inherited Hu Yanbo's legacy, are the new masters of the crystal man. The crystal man has only the option of accepting their orders. The next operation was simple. The most precious thing in the entire outpost was the central system host that was still running. As long as the host was taken out, the crystal man could follow Lugoxia and his team out of the ruins. However, in order to avoid unnecessary trouble, let's wait until all the warriors who entered the ruins have left before taking the host out. Lugofeng suggested. So Lugoxia and Lugofeng stayed in the ruins for almost a month. During this month, Lugoxia and Lugofeng studied in Babata's virtual space. Now Lugoxia has completely mastered the 10,000 sword soul seal. However, he was not in a hurry to learn the slave soul seal, but began to try to develop the moves of the 10,000 sword soul seal according to the previous inspiration. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 112. Chapter 112 Fantasy Sword Star Falling Rain. In Babata's virtual space. In the battlefield of the Scarlet Castle, Lugoxia and Lugofeng were fighting with the same physical fitness. Suddenly, a sword mark appeared on Lugoxia's finger. Brother, be careful. Lugoxia warned, and the sword seal suddenly flew into the air and burst into intense light. Buzz. When the light enveloped Lugofeng, and he was slightly dazed, he found that the surrounding environment had changed. Now, he is standing on the mirror-like lake. In front of him, there is a shining flower thousand trees. Rorschach was standing at the top of thousands of flowers and trees at this time. That's right. Looking beyond Rorschach towards the night sky like sky, I saw a little bit of light shining like stars on the dark curtain. Lugofeng's eyes widened. Those star-like points of light were not stars at all, but sword seals shining with cold light. The east wind blows thousands of flowers and trees down at night, and even blows them down, and the stars are like rain. As Rorschach chanted, a cold wind suddenly blew in this strange space. The next moment, the sword prints hanging in the sky roared and fell like meteor showers. Whoosh! Whoosh! In Luo Feng's sight, the sword seals were continuously enlarging, and they were like comets hitting the earth, hitting him. He wanted to dodge, but his body felt like it was being stabbed and he couldn't move. Boom boom boom. Sword seals smashed down one after another and landed next to Luo Feng. I dash 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 I. In his trance, the world shattered like a mirror. Then, he came back to his senses and found Rorschach standing opposite him with a smile. They have returned to the virtual space battleground. Luo Feng was surprised and asked Luo Xia, Xiao Xia, what move did you just do? A new move I developed using the 10,000 sword soul seal combined with illusion. Rorschach explained. Luo Feng's body trembled as he thought of the sword seals that fell like meteors. This move of yours is terrible. You are trapped in that illusion and you can't dodge even if you want to. Luo Xia smiled and said, in fact, if your mental power is not much different from mine, you can escape my attack. Luo Feng shook his head and smiled bitterly, is there anyone on earth whose mental power can compare with you? According to Babada, Rorschach's mental power is now the strongest on earth. Even Luo Feng is still far behind Luo Xia. I haven't mastered the soul seal in the first volume yet, but you have used the 10,000 sword soul seal in the second volume to develop new moves. Xioxia, you are getting stronger and stronger. I'm really afraid that one day I won't be able to keep up with you. Pace. Luo Feng said sadly. Babada held his hands, floating on the edge of the battlefield, and said with emotion, there is a gap between geniuses. She flew over, patted Luo Feng's shoulder, and comforted, you don't have to be sad. Compared with other people on Earth, your talent is already very good. Rorschach is different. He is the only miracle on Earth in the past 50,000 years, his understanding and talent are top-notch in the entire universe. Why do I feel more sad after hearing what you said? Luo Feng said to Babada, dumbfounded. Babada spread his hands and said, okay, those guys who entered the ruins are out, it's time for us to leave. It is very simple to take away the base host, just put it directly into the storage space of Baba Tower. In order to deceive others, Luo Feng and Luo Xia both put on black god suits after coming out of the ruins. This black god suit was the one given to them by Babada. Before entering the ruins, it was put into the storage space by Luo Xia and Luo Feng. Taking it out now would not make anyone suspicious. Representative Luo Feng. Representative Luo Xia. After the two appeared, they were welcomed by the base members. The other gods of war who came out first were waiting for Luo Feng and Luo Xia. The person in charge of the base, the old man in red robe, notified Yaireo at the headquarters to pick up Luo Xia and the others. Soon after, the enchanting Kinkan class fighter jets arrived over the base. Congratulations, you are back alive. When she saw Rorschach and the others for the first time, the stunning woman wearing a mask said with a smile. After that, during the flight, Yaireo didn't talk to Luo Xia and the others anymore. She felt that Luo Xia and the others had just come out of the ruins and they must be very tired both physically and mentally. After returning to the headquarters, Luo Xia and Luo Feng were summoned by the museum owner Hong. Master, are you looking for us? Well, sit down first. In the reception room, Hong motioned for Luo Xia and Luo Feng to sit down. The two brothers sat down. Hong looked at Luo Feng and Luo Xia, and suddenly asked, you didn't encounter anything special in the ruins, right? Luo Xia and Luo Feng shook their heads, there is no special situation. Is this so? Hong Weiwei pondered, and did not ask any more questions. Instead, he said to Luo Feng and Luo Xia, I have updated some treasures in my list. You still have 178 stars left last time. Do you want to redeem them? Luo Feng and Luo Xia looked at each other. Luo Feng asked, Master, can you show us what treasures they are? Hong waved his hand and unfolded a three-dimensional virtual projection in front of Luo Feng and Luo Xia, with various categories of treasures on it. "There's something pretty good," Babata in the wristband suddenly said. Luo Xia was stunned and asked consciously, "What?" "Under the classification of ancient civilization instruments," Babata pointed. Without thinking, Luo Feng directly clicked on the category of ancient civilization instruments and saw that after the category was expanded, the top was Ancient Civilization Gravity Room, 1-1000 times unit Earth gravity, price 100 stars. Luo Feng asked with his consciousness, "Babata, do you want me to redeem this?" "Of course," Babata said, "the gravity chamber is still very important to you now. With the gravity chamber and the wood crystal, your cultivation speed can be 5 or 6 times faster than before." After a pause, she continued, "This Hong is pretty good to you. This gravity chamber is just for you. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been put on the list." When Luo Feng heard this, he did not hesitate and said directly to Hong, the owner of the museum, "Master, we want this gravity chamber." "Haha, I knew you would redeem this." Hong looked as I expected. He looked at Luo Feng and Luo Xia with a smile and said, "I will send someone to deliver this ancient civilization gravity chamber to your home. It will probably take a few days." "No problem, thank you, host." "Thank you Luo Feng and Luo Xia." Next, instead of exchanging other things, they chatted with Hong about practicing. Now Luo Xia's strength has caught up with Hong's. Not only is he stronger than him, but he also has his own domain. When they communicated, Hongzhe was no longer simply giving advice, but both sides were learning from each other. After Luo Feng and Luo Xia said goodbye and left, Hong couldn't hold back his surprise. He called Thor and said with a smile, "Xioxia has caught up with me." The god of thunder was stunned. "Brother Hong, are you kidding me? Didn't that kid just enter the second level of planetary level? Why did he catch up with you? You are the 6th level of planetary level." "Of course the level has not caught up with mine," Hong said, "but he has unique power generating skills and is also a spiritual master. If I fight him now, if I don't use the field, I may lose to him." The god of thunder clicked his tongue and said without doubting Hong's words, "Children today are really scary. It seems that I can't slack off. By the way, brother Hong, I'll come to you later to discuss it. I seem to have some clues about the realm of unity between man and nature that you mentioned." "Okay, just come here. I'll wait for you at the headquarters." After talking to Lei Shen on the phone, Hong stood in front of the porthole with his hands behind his back, looking quite pleased. "Luo Feng, Luo Xia, come on and grow up. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Swallowed Star, My Understanding is Beyond Belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 113. Dad, Mom, we are back. When he returned home, only Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan were at home. As for Luo Hua, he is studying in school because the term has started. "Xiao Feng, Xiao Xia, you are finally back." Seeing her son back, the mother was naturally very happy, but there was still some complaint on her face. "Why have you been gone for more than a month without any news?" "What are you talking about?" Luo Hongguo glared at his wife. "They are not going out to play, they have important things to do." Gong Xinlan couldn't help but said, "Aren't I worried about them?" As he was talking, Luo Feng's phone rang. Luo Feng glanced down and found that the call was from Zhou Zhenyang. He raised his head and said, "It's President Zhou." With that said, he answered the phone. "Hello, President Zhou, what can I do for you?" On the phone, Zhou Zhenjiang's tone was a little urgent. "Inspector Luo, the front line base on the Huangpu River was attacked by monsters." A call came from the front line saying that it was a first-level monster wave, and the country is asking us for assistance. Level 1 Beast Tide, Luo Feng and Luo Xia's expressions changed. The level 3 beast wave back then left a deep impression on the two brothers. The level 1 beast tide is a monster war more terrifying than the level 3 beast tide. No wonder the country wants to ask them for help. Luo Feng and Luo Xia looked at each other and said to President Zhou solemnly, "We know, let's set off immediately." After hanging up the phone, he didn't care that he had just arrived home, and said directly to Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan, "Dad, Mom, Xioxia and I are needed on the front line, let's go there first." Luo Hongguo sighed and said, "Go, go. Pay attention to safety." Gong Xinlan had tears in her eyes. She wanted to say something, but couldn't. "Dad, Mom, don't worry, my eldest brother and I will come back safely." Luo Xia stepped forward, wiped the tears from the corners of her mother's eyes, and said with a bright smile, "Aha." Gong Xinlan nodded. The two brothers didn't linger anymore, rushed out of the house and returned to the fighter plane. "Babata, go to the front line base on the Huangpu River," Luo Feng ordered. Babata said, "Understood." Under her command, the fighter plane took off and flew directly towards the front line base on the Huangpu River. In the process, both Luo Feng and Luo Xia put on their own black god suits. After they became patrol envoys, their weapons were also changed. All throwing knives and weapons are SS level. Of course, the weapons they got from Babata were the most powerful, but apart from the escape sky shuttle, other weapons were not easy to display at will. Not long after, the fighter plane flew over the base. Babata said at this time, a call request was sent from the base. Luo Feng said, "Connect in." Babata nodded and let the other party's call request be connected. Suddenly, a rich voice sounded in the fighter plane. "Are they Representative Luo Feng and Representative Luo Xia?" "It's us," Luo Feng replied. "Hello, I am Li Dai, the commander of the Huangpu River front line base. Thank you very much to the two congressmen for coming to support me." "Commander Li, you're welcome. This is as it should be," Luo Feng said solemnly. Li Dai didn't say much, but said gratefully, "Then I'll leave it to you." After saying that, he hung up the phone. Rorschach's face was full of horror at this time, and he said to Babata, "Babata, open the hatch." Wow! The hatch opens. Luo Feng stepped on the sky escape shuttle, and Luo Xia stepped on the silver moon sword and flew out of the fighter plane. Looking down from the air, they could see that in front of the base made of steel and concrete, countless monsters rushed out of the river. Human laser cannons, bombs, and machine guns were spewing fire, and these were like tides. Ordinary monsters fight to the death. Rumble. The sound of artillery was loud, and amidst the earth-shattering bombing, the tide of monsters showed no sign of retreating. They continued to attack the base, as if they would not stop until they broke through the base. Countless monsters, including arthropods, reptiles, coelenterate, echinoderms, all kinds of monsters roared and launched ferocious attacks on the human base. Under the impact of these monsters, the war base is like a fishing boat drifting on the sea in a storm, with the possibility of capsizing at any time. Superior. Luo Feng didn't say anything nonsense. The black god's helmet covered his head. In the next second, he had already stepped on the sky escape shuttle and rushed towards the group of monsters below like an arrow. Rorschach took a slight breath, and after the black-purple helmet protected his head, he turned into black-purple lightning and swooped down faster than Luo Feng. Boom! Rorschach hit a group of monsters hard, the force brought by the fall plus his 16 times force-generating skills. When it fell, it was like a nuclear bomb exploded in the pile of monsters. Thousands of monsters were overturned by the terrifying power in an instant, their limbs were broken, a large amount of blood, and organ fragments exploded like fireworks. Rorschach was like a god of death. Among the bloody corpses flying in the sky, he turned into a black and purple line again and rushed towards those terrible monsters. Regardless of whether it is a beast soldier level, a beast general level, or a lord level, all monsters will die as long as they are passed through by the black and purple thread, and their bodies will explode. Under Rorschach's power, these monsters were like chickens waiting to be slaughtered in a chicken coop, killed by him effortlessly. On the other side, Luo Feng was also slaughtering crazily. His sky escape shuttle split into 18 blades, turning into 18 death sickles, harvesting the lives of monsters one by one. Great, so powerful. Is this the power of the counselor level? Too strong. Killing the lord level is like chopping melons and vegetables. In the war base, many people cheered in surprise. As the highest commander, Li Daoi's cold face also relaxed a little at this time. With Luo Xia and Luo Feng exerting their strength, the lord-level monsters that posed the greatest threat to the base were dying miserably. Beep. Beep. At this moment, the alarm sounded suddenly, and then the entire war base shook violently. Commander! A very powerful monster is madly hitting the base of our base under the water. Someone reported loudly. Li Daoi had a blank expression on his face and ordered, with the war base as the center, drop solidified incendiary bombs within a radius of 1 kilometer around it. After giving the order, he said to another person, "Connect Counselor Luo Feng and Counselor Luo Xia to me." Counselor Luo Feng, Counselor Luo Xia, there are large monsters under the water that are hitting the base of the base. Please enter the water and help kill these monsters. Luo Xia's calm words sounded, "It doesn't take two people, big brother, you continue to clean up those lord-level monsters above, and I will go to kill those monsters in the water." "Okay, be careful," Luo Feng said. As soon as the voice fell, in Li Daoi's monitoring, Luo Xia had turned into a black and purple lightning and rushed into the water. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 114. Chapter 114 Killback. 20,000 updates today, please subscribe. Rorschach rushed into the Huangpu River. The turbid river water could not block his sight. He glanced around and found that there were hundreds of different types of water monsters within 100 meters. Tisk. He clicked his tongue, and the arc knife disc and 38 SS-class flying knives flew out silently, swoosh. The arc blade and 38 flying knives attacked the monsters in the water. Although there was resistance from the water, under Rorschach's mental power, the speed of the arc cutter head and flying knives did not drop much, they were still extremely fast. Under his control, a 50-meter radius centered on him became a death zone. As long as a monster dares to rush within a distance of 50 meters around him, it will immediately be strangled by arc blades and flying knives. Rorschach just dives all the way and kills all the way. The corpses of the monsters slowly floated to the surface after losing their vitality. Meanwhile, in the sky, UFO fighter planes flew by one after another, and the new solidified incendiary bombs fell downwards like a goddess scattering flowers. With the war base as the center, the surrounding area of 1,000 meters was enveloped in flames. Hoo-hoo! The sea of fire burned with sea beasts one after another. Most sea beasts are not afraid of burning, but the flames will take away the moisture in their bodies and the oxygen in the air. As water and oxygen continue to disappear, many sea animals reluctantly return to the river. At the bottom of the river, not far from the base of the base, Rorschach saw the three-headed monster attacking the base. The bodies of these three monsters are very huge. The shortest one is more than 60 meters long, and the longest one is more than 90 meters long. And there are huge and sharp horns on their heads. They are like Rabu, the island whale in one piece, hitting the base of the base crazily. The entire base shook under their impact. Luo Xia narrowed his eyes slightly and recognized the three monsters, two mountain-shaking whales and one hissing beast. For them to attack human bases in such an organized manner, there must be king-level or even emperor-level monsters commanding them behind the scenes. The most terrifying thing about the hissing beast is its sonic attack. You must kill it first. Luo Xia's thoughts flashed, and the spiritual power in his mind boiled. Under his control, the arc knife disc flew rapidly, turned into a bolt of lightning, and attacked the hissing beast. Puff! Under the control of Luo Xia's mental power, the arc knife disc was extremely fast. It's like there is no resistance in the water. In an instant, the arc blade rotated and cut into the head of the 11 Tian beast, piercing out from the other side, bringing out a large amount of blood. Whoosh! After getting rid of the hissing beast, Luo Xia controlled the arc blade to bombard the remaining 2 mountain-shaking whales. Although the 2 mountain-shaking whales reacted, they were able to avoid the arc knife disc. In an instant, their heads were pierced, and their huge bodies slowly sank to the bottom of the river. Done. Rorschach smiled. With his current strength, these lord-level monsters are no longer his match. Next, it's time for us to fight back. He didn't even look at the corpses at the bottom of the river, his eyes narrowed slightly, and he rushed towards the other monsters in the river with his arc knife blade. On the other side, Luo Feng was guarding the base and killing all the monsters that came towards him. With the cooperation of him and Luo Xia, the 2 brothers killed the monsters in the river and the monsters crawling on the land. In the end, these monsters were not allowed to rush into the base. At 8 o'clock the next morning, the tide of beasts slowly receded. Luo Feng panted, exhausted both physically and mentally. Li Dai came out to meet Luo Feng in person and said gratefully, "Congressman Luo Feng. Thank you very much to you and Congressman Luo Xia for the rescue. Because of you, the monster did not invade the base in the end. You saved the lives of most of the soldiers in the base. Thank you very much." Luo Feng forced a smile, waved and said, "Commander Li, there's no need to be so polite. This is what we brothers should do." Li Dai nodded, looked at Luo Feng with admiration, and suddenly asked, "By the way, where is Senator Luo Xia?" Luo Feng looked at the river surface where countless corpses were surging, and said hesitantly, "Xiao Xia seems to be still fighting in the water." "Brother," at this moment, Luo Xia's voice suddenly sounded in Luo Feng's communication watch, "I'm going to fight back. Don't worry about me, I'll be right back." Li Dai and Luo Feng were stunned at the same time. "Fight back. Xiao Xia." Luo Feng subconsciously shouted to the communication watch, trying to persuade Luo Xia to come back, but at this time Luo Xia had already hung up the phone. At the bottom of the river, Luo Xia, who was dressed in black and purple armor, was already red-eyed. Since coming to support yesterday, he has lost count of how many monsters he has killed. He only knew how to wield the long sword in his hand, use the arc blade and flying knives to harvest the lives of one monster after another. Seeing that the monster was about to retreat this morning, Rorschach's heart boiled with anger. Do these monsters really think they can come and leave whenever they want? No. I want to fight back. With this thought in his mind, Luo Xia called his eldest brother Luo Feng to inform him. Then he stepped on the arc knife blade, chased the retreating monsters, and headed towards the sea along the Huangpu River. In the beast tide last night, most of the lord-level monsters died in the hands of Luo Feng and Luo Xia. Where are these monsters, Rorschach's opponents, right now? And even in the water, they are not as fast as Rorschach. After Rorschach awakened his abilities, he was extremely fast. Even in the water, as long as he activated his power, he could catch up with those monsters in an instant. Just chase and kill all the way. The corpses and blood of countless monsters dyed the entire lower reaches of the Huangpu River colorfully. Roar! However, just as Rorschach chased him into the sea, a terrifying sea beast appeared in front of him. This sea beast is very huge, with a body length of 500 to 600 meters, and has 2 heads, each of which is extremely huge. Two-headed poisonous dragon snake. This is a monster that mutated from a two-headed sea snake. Judging from its size, it is already a king-level monster that is very close to the emperor level. Rorschach floated quietly in the sea water, staring at the two-headed venomous dragon snake in front of him. The intelligence of king-level monsters is no different from that of humans, and some are even smarter than humans. The double-headed poisonous dragon snake looked at Luoxia, its four vertical pupils filled with coldness and evil. Laugh. The double-headed poisonous dragon snake suddenly launched an attack. Its speed was extremely fast. In an instant, two ferocious poisonous snake mouths had enveloped Luoxia in all directions, leaving him with nowhere to escape. So, are you behind this wave of beasts? The grey realm suddenly unfolded, and in the almost stagnant grey scene, only Rorschach still retained color. He looked at the two-headed poisonous dragon snake coldly, and in the next second, the curved blade turned into a terrifying meat grinder, hitting the bifurcation of the two snake heads. A snort. The arc cutter head easily split the snake body of the king-level monster, the double-headed poisonous dragon snake, into two halves. Then, the arc cutter head that had been cut to the tail flew back under the control of Rorschach, crushing the two huge snake heads. Buzz. After the head of the two-headed poisonous dragon snake turned into minced meat, Rorschach put away the speed domain. He pounced on the poisonous dragon snake's body and found a purple snake gallbladder as big as a basketball. This is a great supplement. Rorschach threw the snake gall into the storage space, then flew out of the sea and looked at the majestic ocean. His eyes flashed. Take this opportunity to install the monitor that Babata has made. Hey, brother, are you convenient now? He called Luofeng. Luofeng had returned to the fighter plane at this time and was about to find Luoxia. When he heard his words, he couldn't help but said, "It's convenient, Xioxia, how are you now?" "I'm fine." Rorschach smiled, and then said, "If it's convenient, let Babata talk to me." "What's wrong, Rorschach?" Babata's voice came from the phone. Rorschach said, "I am about to install the monitor you have made. In which sea areas do I need to place it? I have sent you a map of the sea area where monitors need to be placed. Please take a look." Babata's voice came. Rorschach clicked on his communication watch, and a sea map projection suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. "Babata, this monitor just needs to be thrown into the corresponding sea area. Will it not be destroyed by sea monsters? Don't worry, I have used some special technology on this monitor. Sea beasts will subconsciously stay away from them and will not cause damage to them. You just need to put it into the sea area I marked for you." Babata said. "Okay, then I'll go release it now." Rorschach said, "Brother, you and Babata can go back first, I will be back soon." Luofeng said helplessly, "I'll go to the Alliance Mall in the main city to wait for you. Otherwise, if I go back alone, my parents will scold me to death." Rorschach chuckled and hung up the phone. "My fingers hurt from writing this, so I beg you all readers to give me monthly votes, recommendation votes, collections, and follow-up subscriptions. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief." Author, Bo Yoon Song. Chapter 115. Rorschach flew over the sea on the arc blade. Under the blue sky was a deep and dark ocean. In the waves of the ebb and flow, sea beasts jumped out from time to time and roared. Suddenly, the sea surface in front exploded. The sea water rose into the air, and in the splashing water, a manta ray monster spread its wings that covered the sky and rushed towards Rorschach. This was a king-level sea beast. Seeing that Rorschach, a human, dared to break into the sea area under its jurisdiction, it was angry and came out to fight and kill Rorschach. Humph. Rorschach snorted coldly, pinched his sword finger, formed a sword soul seal, and slowly chanted, "The east wind blooms thousands of flowers at night, and blows down stars like rain." A sword seal floated in the air, bursting with brilliant light. The next moment, the soul consciousness of the manta ray monster was pulled into Rorschach's illusion. On the silent lake, a brilliant and magnificent thousand flowers tree bloomed. Logos-ya stood on the treetop, like an immortal descending to earth. Fall. In the cold wind, the sword marks hanging high in the sky suddenly fell like meteors, bombarded towards the huge manta ray monster that was hundreds of meters wide. Boom boom boom. The sword marks fell, with the power to pierce the soul. Although this manta ray monster has extremely high wisdom, its soul power is no match for Logos-ya, and it was immediately submerged by the sword marks of meteors all over the sky. The huge consciousness was shattered by the sword marks. Finally, the consciousness of the manta ray monster hundreds of meters wide slowly dissipated on the calm lake. In reality, the manta ray monster that pounced on Logos-ya also turned into a corpse. It fell into the sea without touching Logos-ya, splashing water waves tens of meters high. This is the power of the moves that Logos-ya created based on the 10,000 sword soul seal. It can make the enemy's consciousness and soul collapse and annihilate in an instant without making a sound. Of course, this can only be done if the difference in the soul power of both sides is too large. If the soul strength of both sides is similar, Logos-ya's move can only severely damage the opponent's soul, and it can never destroy its consciousness directly like the manta monster. Not long after, Logos-ya flew to a sea area marked by Babata. He took out Babata's monitoring instrument from the storage space and threw it into the sea below. As soon as the monitor fell into the sea, it began to sink, emitting some kind of consciousness wave, making the surrounding monsters subconsciously ignore its existence. The next sea area. After checking the sea chart, Logos-ya stepped on the arc knife disc and continued to fly to the next sea area. Along the way, he often encountered attacks from sea beasts. Since the Great Nirvana, humans have never set foot in the ocean. The ocean, which occupies 70% of the Earth's surface, has completely become the territory of various sea beasts. These monsters are aggressive towards humans. When they see Logos-ya flying over their heads, they follow him closely and attack him as soon as they find the opportunity. Most of these sea beasts are lord level, and a few are king level. Nowadays, monsters of this level are no match for Logos-ya. Every attack is easily dealt with by him. The sea beasts that attack him are all used by him as a whetstone for his own fighting skills to hone himself. In the battle, Logos-ya didn't even use the power of the field. He only used the most basic fighting skills and physical strength to fight these sea beasts. In this way, Logos-ya flew through various sea areas and fought various sea beasts all the way. Countless monster corpses were torn apart by him, floating on the sea, rising and falling with the waves. During this period, he was also seriously injured, and was forced into danger by sea beasts several times, and almost died. But he finally survived, and at the same time, his own combat experience and skills were tempered, improved, and became stronger in the near-death battles. Logos-ya was immersed in such fighting and improvement. After flying for a few days, he went deep into the ocean and took the initiative to find trouble with those sea beasts. In the sea, his battle became more difficult. The resistance and pressure caused by the sea water, etc., made him burst out with greater power than outside the sea water every time he performed his actions, in order to fully perform them. But this was extremely beneficial for Logos-ya to hone his combat skills. The sea is vast, and there are countless sea beasts. Therefore, all kinds of lord-level and king-level monsters can be seen everywhere in the sea. However, as Logos-ya dived into the sea to find trouble with these sea beasts, these lord-level and king-level monsters died one after another. There were also countless beast soldier-level and beast general-level sea beasts who died in his hands. Gradually, Logos-ya's existence began to spread among the sea beasts. The sea beasts discovered that after the first and second strongest men, Hong and Lei Shen, there was another terrifying strong man born on the continent. This human was not weaker than Hong and Lei Shen, and was even stronger. He was also more arrogant. He dared to go to the sea alone, slaughtering countless sea beasts, and did not take these monsters seriously at all. The monsters in the sea were extremely angry and kept chasing in the direction of Luoxia, wanting to kill this human who dared to set foot in the monster sea. But Luoxia was not afraid at all. While dropping monitoring devices into the sea marked by Babata, he fought with these monsters that chased him. He had the speed domain and the kamikaze leg, and was not afraid of these sea beasts at all. Even if he couldn't beat them, he could run. After opening the domain and the kamikaze leg, these monsters couldn't stop him at all. In battle after battle, Luoxia's strength continued to break through. Because he had to consolidate his foundation, his realm level did not improve. His mental power was still at the 4th level of the planetary level, and his genetic energy was at the 2nd level of the planetary level. But his use of combat skills and the secret method of mental power became more and more proficient and perfect. For example, in terms of mental power, he has completely mastered the 9 basic decisions of control chapter. Mental power can be condensed into various shapes and directly attack the enemy. A Lord-level monster died directly under Luoxia's pure mental power attack. At that time, he used mental power to condense into a needle, easily pierced the monster's brain, and smashed its inside into pieces. As for warriors, Luoxia can already skillfully use the 16-fold force technique and use it on speed and defense. Domain and Divine Wind Kick add 16 times the speed. The combination of the 3 abilities made Luoxia's speed soar wildly, and in the vision of various sea beasts, he achieved a teleportation-like movement effect. Moreover, if the kinetic energy brought by the speed is hit with 16 times the force technique, the burst of power is even more unparalleled. According to Luoxia's estimation, if he bursts out with all his strength now, even a star-level strongman will probably die instantly without being prepared. There are 16 sea areas marked by Babata. After a few days, Luoxia has marked 13 sea areas. There are 3 left now. On the other side, Luofeng waited for Luoxia's return in the main city. After 2 days of being with Su Xian, he could only go back home with Babata. When his parents heard from Luofeng that Luoxia had not returned yet, they were very worried. Fortunately, although Luoxia was immersed in the battle with the monster, he did not lose himself. When he had a half-day of leisure, he would call home to report his safety. Luofeng was not too worried when he saw that Luoxia was fine. Because Babata told him that with Luoxia's domain power, it would be very easy to escape. Now, those who can kill Luoxia on Earth are all in those ancient civilization ruins. Those monsters in the sea cannot kill Luoxia. While Luoxia was practicing in the sea, the gravity room that he had exchanged with the owner Hong before was also delivered to his home. Now Babata is transforming this ancient civilization gravity room. Under her transformation, the gravity room that could only generate 1-1000 times the gravity of the Earth can generate 0-90,000 times the gravity. In one night, Babata transformed the gravity room. She said to Luofeng, "From today, Luofeng, you will practice in the gravity room every day. When Luoxia comes back, he will also practice in this gravity room. This gravity room can make your foundation more solid." Luofeng nodded. Babata continued, "Your genetic energy is at the 1st level of the planetary level. Your muscles and bones can withstand relatively high gravity, but your heart, liver, lungs, and other internal organs are relatively fragile. Well, start with 100 times the gravity of the Earth, so that your internal organs can improve rapidly. Once your physical foundation is solid, you can try to let your mental power impact the planetary level." Now Luofeng's mental power has not yet broken through to the planetary level. This is actually a good thing for him, because this can make his mental power more solid and stronger. When it breaks through to the planetary level, the benefits will be greater. Under the guidance of Babata, Luofeng began to practice in the gravity room. On the other side, Luoxia encountered an unprecedented crisis. 3 or 4,000 meters deep under the sea. In the deep and terrifying sea water, Countless monsters stretched out in this dark and deep world. They just floated quietly in the oppressive sea water. In front of these monsters, there was a beast king level black-eyed unicorn white shark. The body of this black-eyed unicorn shark is very large, nearly 1,000 meters long, like an island sunk in the sea. On its huge head, there is a red horn, and its eyes are dark, like two deep and terrifying black holes. As the black-eyed unicorn shark's body moved slightly, the surrounding sea water suddenly produced waves of terrifying ripples. Opposite this black-eyed unicorn shark is a tiny human. It is Rorschach. In front of the black-eyed unicorn shark, which is as huge as Kun, Rorschach is as small as an ant. The deep sea pressure that could easily crush a human body, at this time, could not cause any effect on Rorschach's body. He calmly floated in this dark deep sea world, staring at the black pupils of the beast king level white shark quietly. Heh, this scene is big enough. Behind the beast king level white shark, there are dozens of king level monsters and hundreds of lord level monsters. Behind the lord level monsters, there are countless beast generals and beast soldier level monsters. The reason why these monsters are here is to hunt down Luoxia. In these days, Luoxia has killed many sea beasts in the sea recklessly. Everything he did made countless sea beasts angry. Finally, the beast king level white shark came out, leading a large group of monsters, chasing here, and trapped Luoxia in the seabed more than 3,000 meters deep. After a few seconds of silent confrontation, buzz! The black-eyed unicorn white shark made a strange sound, which spread very far in the dark and silent sea world. The next moment, the monsters behind it roared. Various roars formed a sonic attack, connected together, and bombarded Rorschach. Rorschach was already prepared, the black god suit completely covered him, and he saw the monster's sonic attack coming. His figure flashed. In this deep and dark seabed, his speed was still extremely fast, like a ghost. He ignored the sonic attack and launched an attack on the beast king level white shark. Really? When he met the monster's sonic attack, the black god suit directly weakened these sound waves by 90%, and the rest did not have much impact on him at all. At most, it caused a slight obstruction in his sprint. At this moment, a huge shadow stirred the sea water and struck with a terrifying force weighing thousands of tons. But it was the beast king level white shark that launched the attack. At the same time, those king level and lord level monsters also launched attacks, completely blocking Rorschach's way of survival from all directions. Field. Rorschach was extremely calm, his golden eyes coldly watching the numerous monsters attacking, his face calm and calm. The grey field centered on him and spread out around him. The next moment, the tail fin attack of the beast king level white shark and the attacks of various king level and lord level monsters were all extremely slow in his sight, as if they were slowed down dozens of times. Immediately afterwards, the kamikaze kick was activated, and the speed exploded 16 times. Boom! The seawater around Rorschach exploded. The moment he moved, the seawater hundreds of meters around him was shocked into a vacuum. The arc cutter head rotated rapidly, and the blades on it cut the sea water and turned into a meteor. Luoxia's figure followed closely behind the arc cutter head and struck at the beast emperor white shark at high speed. Too fast. Rorschach's speed is too fast at this time. His body was like a noodle being pulled apart. He had obviously rushed out, but there was still a shadow left in place. He turned into a thin thread and chased after the arc knife disc. He only heard a hissing sound, and the abdomen of the beast emperor white shark was pierced by the arc knife disc. The arc knife disc rushed into the body of the beast king white shark. And Rorschach also rushed in following the arc blade. Tisk tisk tisk. The curved blade was frantically cutting the internal organs of the beast king white shark, and Rorschach, who rushed in, also opened up his mental power at the moment when the fragments of internal organs and blood enveloped him, and his golden eyes were moving rapidly, leaving the lower golden tail wing. Chaos has not yet begun, but one sword creates the world. The kinetic energy brought by the high-speed movement was poured into the long sword in his hand by Rorschach using special skills. The next moment, with 16 times the force-generating technique, all these kinetic energy and own power exploded. Boom! It's like a flood bursting. The terrifying power is released from the long sword. The chaotic world seemed to have remained unchanged forever, and the darkness was deep. Then, at the end of this dark and chaotic world, a little light suddenly lit up. The light is getting stronger and stronger. The next second, the chaotic and dark world was separated by light. Black and white were clearly distinguishable. In the endless light, Rorschach rushed out from the head of the Beast King level white shark. Call. The gray field is taken back. He gently shook the long sword in his hand and saw that the cold blade was covered with cracks. Under the pressure of the sea water, the blade suddenly shattered and turned into dots of cold light, lingering around Luoxia. Sure enough, the SS level sword cannot withstand my full power. Rorschach sighed and turned to look at the Beast King white shark as huge as an island. The white shark's black eyes turned towards Rorschach. When it wanted to attack again, its body suddenly shook, and then, its huge body quietly cracked open. The gap is getting bigger and bigger. In the sight of countless sea beasts and Rorschach, the huge body of the Beast King white shark slowly split into two halves, and countless blood and flesh and blood tissues spread like smoke in the sea water in all directions. Roar! Hold head high! The sudden death of the Beast King white shark frightened countless sea beasts. They couldn't see what Rorschach had done, and the Beast King white shark was split into two halves. This is too scary. The king-level sea beasts present could not help but beat their drums in their hearts. Are they monsters, or is this human being a monster? The sea beasts let out various roars, and when they looked at the human who was as weak as an ant, their bodies retreated involuntarily. Aren't you going to kill me? Under the black and purple armor, Luoxia's faint voice spread in the sea. He is suspended in the sea water, and in the perception of all sea beasts, he is like a legendary god and demon, exuding a soul-trembling aura. Boom! Before Rorschach made any move, those sea beasts started to flee crazily. Not long after, tens of thousands of sea beasts fled without a trace, leaving only the island-like corpse of the Beast King white shark, quietly accompanying Rorschach. Huh! Secretly breathing a sigh of relief, Luoxia controlled the arc knife disc, cut off the horn on the head of the Beast King white shark, and put it into the storage space. Then his body flashed and turned into black and purple lightning. From this sea area gone. On an uninhabited island, Rorschach rushed out of the sea, took off the black god suit on his head on the white beach, and then sat down on the ground casually, panting. The sky in the distance was thick with dark clouds, bursts of thunder and lightning were brewing in it, and strong winds were blowing the sea water and raising high waves. Rorschach blew in the salty sea breeze and panted to regain his strength. Huh! Luckily the soul seal of fear worked and scared those sea beasts away. Otherwise, if I had fought with those guys again, I would have had to run for my life. He muttered to himself, and his voice dissipated in the sea breeze before it could drift too far. After bursting out with all his strength and killing the Beast King white shark, Luoxia actually didn't have much physical strength left. If those king-level and lord-level monsters surrounded and killed him recklessly, Luoxia would have had to run for his life, and he might not have been able to escape. Fortunately, he was quick-witted and, with the might of killing the Beast King white shark with one sword, secretly formed the soul seal of fear and scared away all the sea beasts. That's how he escaped safely. Next, there shouldn't be any Beast King level sea beasts who dare to come and cause trouble for me, right? Luoxia whispered, feeling that his physical strength had almost recovered, and stood up from the white beach. He glanced at the storm brewing in the distance, and then turned into a black and purple lightning, and continued to fly towards the sea area marked by Babada. There will be another chapter later. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Swallowed Star, My Understanding is Beyond Belief. Author, Bo Yoon Song. Chapter 116. Yangzhou City, Minjiao Community. A black and purple figure suddenly fell from the sky, and then landed lightly in a villa in the community. Dad, Mom, Big Brother, I'm back. The black and purple black god suit slowly receded, turning into a wristband and wearing it on his hand. Rorschach smiled and shouted towards the villa. Gong Xinlan and Luo Hongguo were watching TV in the living room. When they heard Luo Xia's voice, they immediately ran out in surprise. When she saw her youngest son standing in the villa yard with a smile, Gong Xinlan's eyes suddenly turned red, and she couldn't help but step forward and said, "You wild boy! Your elder brother has been back a long time ago. Why are you back now?" Hearing the deep worry in her mother's tone, Luo Xia reached out to wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes and said with a smile, "I'm back now, aren't I?" Luo Hongguo, who was next to him, also comforted Gong Xinlan, "Isn't the child back? Okay, Xioxia hasn't eaten yet, right? Go to the kitchen and cook something for him." "Where is my eldest brother?" Luo Xia asked as he walked into the villa with his parents. After killing the Beast King White Shark, the sea beasts in the ocean no longer dared to trouble Rorschach. He quickly completed the next 3 marked sea areas. "Brother Yu is practicing in the gravity room. He told us that the gravity room is very dangerous and he told us not to go there normally," Luo Hongguo said. Luo Xia nodded, "It is very dangerous. I will go directly to Big Brother later. The gravity in the gravity chamber is often hundreds of times that of the Earth. The bodies of Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan would be crushed by the gravity inside the moment they stepped into the gravity chamber. Yeah. Mom is going to cook for you right now, and you can watch TV with your dad in the living room, etc." Gong Xinlan said, put on her apron and walked to the kitchen. Luo Xia smiled and said, "I'm going to take a bath first and come back later." After taking a shower and eating the hot meal cooked by his mother, Rorschach walked towards the gravity room. The door to the gravity room is closed. Next to the door, there is a red button. Normally, if Luo Hongguo and the others wanted to find Luo Feng, they would have to press this button and Luo Feng inside would come out. Rorschach stepped forward and pressed the red button. "Who?" Luo Feng's voice came from the gravity chamber. Luo Xia responded, "Brother, it's me. Tisk." The door of the gravity room opened, and Luo Feng walked out in loose training clothes. Seeing Luo Xia, he said, "Xiao Xia, you are finally back. If you don't come back, your parents will be worried to death." In fact, he was also worried. It's just that if he looks worried again, Gong Xinlan and the others will only become more worried. Therefore, Luo Feng could only pretend to be calm in front of Luo Hongguo and the others. Rorschach chuckled, "Isn't this just to set up those monitors? Okay, come in first." Luo Feng led Luo Xia into the gravity room. At this time, the gravity room was not opened, and the gravity was still the normal Earth's gravity. After the door was closed, Babata emerged, looked at Rorschach and said, "Number 9 started working when you set up the first monitor. 2 days ago, did you kill someone in the western waters of the Pacific? A Beast King level monster?" Rorschach nodded, "It brought many sea beasts to trouble me, so I killed it." Boom. "You still said that?" Luo Feng slapped Luo Xia on the head, "You brat, you actually provoked those monsters in the sea. When I heard Babata say that you were surrounded and killed by tens of thousands of sea monsters, I almost died of worry." He was going to save Rorschach at that time. But when he went out, Babata told him that the sea beasts that surrounded Rorschach had retreated, and the Beast King level monsters had also been killed by Rorschach. Luo Feng then turned back. "I was wrong." Rorschach shrank his neck and muttered. Luo Feng rolled his eyes at him, I was wrong, let's continue next time, right? Babata said at this time, well, the monitor you set up is very effective. At least it has detected several Beast King level monsters that have not been discovered by humans. How many Beast King level monsters are there in the entire sea? Luoxia asked. Babata said, except for the Beast Emperor you killed, there are 4 more Beast Emperors. Hong and Lei Shen have information on 2 of them, namely the 8-clawed Beast Emperor and the Thunder Dragon Emperor. The remaining 2 Beast Emperors are the monsters are all in the deeper sea. The so-called Beast King level monsters are monsters whose strength has reached the planet level. Like the 8-clawed Beast Emperor and the Thunder Dragon Emperor, their strength is at the 6th or 7th planetary level. The Beast King White Shark that Rorschach killed should be at the 4th level of planetary level. Next, number 9 will help you monitor all sea areas on the Earth. Now that you are back, let's practice in the gravity room with Luo Feng. Babata said. Well, I understand. Luoxia nodded, agreed, and then asked Luo Feng, brother, how many times the Earth's gravity can you withstand now? 156 times, Luo Feng said. Rorschach said, okay, let's start with 156 times gravity. Luo Feng said with some worry, Zioxia, can it be done? If not, just start slowly from 100 times. Gravity can easily damage the body, especially the internal organs. He was afraid that Rorschach would bear too much gravity as soon as he came up, which would hurt his body. Luoxia smiled and replied, no problem. His physical fitness is extremely solid. Not long ago, he was fighting monsters in seawater 3 to 4,000 meters deep. The powerful deep pressure of seawater had no effect on him. The gravity of 156 times the Earth made him wet. Well, if you feel any discomfort, tell me immediately, Luo Feng said to Luoxia while adjusting the gravity of the gravity chamber. As he spoke, the gravity in the gravity chamber began to change. 1 times, 2 times. 154 times, 156 times. When the gravity multiplier reached 156 times, Rorschach's body felt slightly heavy and his knees bent, but he quickly withstood the gravity, and his bent knees slowly straightened up. In the days that followed, Luoxia and Luo Feng practiced hard in the gravity room. The days passed. The remnants of the universe from various organizations are also being sent continuously with Luo Feng's purchase. These cosmic debris were collected by Babata into his storage space. She started building the spaceship in the storage space. Luo Feng got tired of practicing one day, so he asked Babata, how long will it take for you to build the spaceship? After building the spaceship, you can enter the starry sky. He thought that if he could go wandering around the universe in his spare time, it would be a good way to relax. 5 or 6 years, Babata said. Hearing this, Luo Feng couldn't help but complain, 5 or 6 years. Aren't you the most powerful intelligent life? Why does it take so long? Rorschach, who was drinking water on the side, heard this and said with a smile. Brother, Babata is almost starting from scratch. She has nothing, just some debris from the universe. She can build a spaceship in 5 or 6 years, which is already very impressive. Babata raised his chin and hummed. Rorschach is right. What I want to build is a spaceship that can travel through the universe. It's not a spaceship model. And I don't even have the tools to build a spaceship. 5 or 6 years is already very fast, right? Luo Feng didn't dare to complain. How many times the Earth's gravity can you withstand now? Babata suddenly asked. Recently, she has been building a spaceship in the storage space, but she has not paid much attention to the training progress of Luoxia and Luo Feng. Rorschach glanced at the display. 1098G, he replied. Babata nodded, it's okay. The physical strength of the first planetary level can withstand 1,000 times the gravity of the Earth. You have to continue to work hard. Now you have just reached the passing line. Luo Xia and Luo Feng nodded. According to Babata's standards, what she meant by completely withstanding was that under a gravity of 1,098 g, Rorschach and Luo Feng could still move freely. For example, drinking water, walking around, etc. must be exactly the same as in a normal gravity environment, so it can be considered completely withstanding. Time passes slowly. The year 2057 quickly turned the page and passed by. Now Luo Xia and Luo Feng can withstand the Earth's gravity of 3600 g. And their levels have also been upgraded to Rorschach. Mental power, 6th level of planetary level. Warrior body, planetary level 4th level. Luo Feng. Mental power, planetary level 2nd level. Warrior body, planetary level 3rd level. During this year, Luo Feng finally broke through to the planetary level in his spiritual power. Rorschach was even more exaggerated, because the radiant golden ball in his sea of consciousness was still there. Therefore, as long as his physical fitness is improved, his mental power will also be improved, and it will remain the same as before, maintaining a gap of 2 levels higher than his physical fitness. In addition to the improvement of realm level. In terms of secret techniques, Luo Xia also fully mastered the soul seal of 10,000 swords and conducted in-depth study of the soul seal of slavery. The enslavement soul seal created by Hu Yanbo is very complicated. But as long as you can master the 10,000 sword soul seal, it will be relatively easy to condense the slave soul seal. Condensing the soul seal of slavery is not a difficult task for Luo Xia's understanding. But he has bigger ambitions. He wanted to create a more powerful enslavement soul mark based on Hu Yanbo's enslavement soul mark. The most unique thing about the soul mark created by Hu Yanbo is that it allows slaves to maintain independent self-awareness. But that's about it. Rorschach wanted to create a stronger soul seal of slavery. In his vision, the slave soul mark he developed can not only ensure that the slaves have independent self-awareness, but also allow them to enhance their own mental power and genetic energy into the master's body during cultivation. Similar to the relationship between pets and characters in the game. For example, while the pet gains experience by killing monsters, as the owner, he can also gain a certain amount of experience and strengthen himself. In other words, slaves who have received Rorschach's enslavement soul mark will have a certain amount of spiritual power and genetic energy flowing into Rorschach's body during their subsequent training, making him stronger. If there were enough slaves, he wouldn't even need to practice on his own. He could continue to become stronger just by relying on the training of those slaves. This is Rorschach's vision for the new enslaved soul mark. And with his powerful understanding, this new slave soul seal has begun to take shape. This day, late at night. Earth outer space. The stars are dotted, and the vast and endless universe is deep and dark. Suddenly. Call out. A golden stream of light flew quickly from the darkness of the universe. It flew directly to the Earth at a terrifying speed close to the speed of light. In an instant, it arrived at the Earth, passed through the ozone layer, and fell to the Earth below like an ordinary meteor. Call out. Earth, Pacific Ocean. The sea area hundreds of nautical miles away was called the Hawaiian Islands during the Great Nirvana. The golden stream of light streaked across the sky and fell into the sea. The strange thing is that the nearly light-speed fall did not cause any special changes in the sea surface. The sea surface is still rippling leisurely as before. What's even more weird is that when the stream of light streaked across the sky and fell into the Earth, any satellite, any monitoring equipment on the entire Earth, and even the special monitoring equipment in the ancient ruined civilization, including the monitor made by Rorschach Jean Babata, no one noticed this golden stream of light. Deep under the sea. In the seabed that is more than 3,000 meters deep, the golden stream of light has dissipated, and only an oval black giant egg with a diameter of about 12 meters quietly sank to the bottom of the soft seabed. This black eggshell has strange golden markings. Not long after, a sea beast discovered the giant egg. It was 7 or 8 meters long and covered in bluefish scales. This sea beast swam to the side of the giant beast and surrounded the giant egg. With simple wisdom, it recognized that this was not a stone, but something that seemed to be edible. The fish monster opened its mouth wide, and its sharp teeth were like saws, biting the dome hard. Click. The teeth were shattered, and the fish monster's body was moving in pain. It glanced at the dome, flicked its tail, and swam away quickly. Eat a ghost. Who said something with such a chipped tooth can be eaten? After the fish monster swam away, the black dome remained motionless and silent in the seabed. On the black eggshell, the mysterious golden patterns remained as before, without leaving any trace. In Minjio community, Luosia's family was asleep. Rorschach was lying on the bed, feeling his right eyelid twitching violently. And I feel very uneasy. Could it be that the egg of the golden horned giant beast has fallen to the earth? Rorschach muttered, unable to sit still any longer. He got up and went to the gravity room. When the gravity room was renovated, Babata also put the host brought out of the number 9 ruins into the gravity room. No 9, Rorschach shouted, and the colorful light suddenly condensed and turned into a bald crystal man, who was the intelligence in the ruins of number 9. Master, what do you have to say? Crystal Man asked. Are there any particularly strange anomalies in the ocean? Rorschach asked. The crystal man lowered his head slightly. After a while, he raised his head, looked at Rorschach and said, there is nothing abnormal. Nothing unusual. Rorschach thought, am I worrying too much? After a while, he said to the crystal man, okay, you continue to help me monitor all sea areas. If you find anything special, please notify me immediately. Yes, Master. The crystal man responded, then turned into colorful light and disappeared in front of Rorschach. I can't sleep anyway, so why not go to the sea and have a look? Luoxia muttered and left a message for Luo Feng. Then the black god suit covered his body and he flew towards the sea on the arc blade. Why did Xioxia go to sea again? Luo Feng came to the gravity room in the morning and got a message from Luoxia. He frowned and muttered, and called Luoxia. Hello, brother, Luoxia's voice rang on the phone. Where are you now? Luo Feng asked. Rorschach, who was flying on the sea, called up the chart, looked at it, and replied, I seem to be in an area of sea originally called the Hawaiian Islands. Luo Feng raised his eyebrows, why did you go so far away? Flying, we'll reach this place, Rorschach said. When he first came to the sea, he was running around. Unexpectedly, he flew to the sea area. Luo Feng sighed and asked, what are you doing at sea this time? My body is almost rusty after staying at home, so I come out to find these monsters to play with. Rorschach casually made an excuse and said. Luo Feng said, okay, please pay attention to safety. If you need anything, please contact me at any time. Yeah, I know. Rorschach said and hung up the phone. He looked at the churning sea water around him and murmured softly, well, my eyelids won't twitch so much when we get here. Isn't it possible that the eggs of the golden horned giant beast are in the sea area? As he spoke, he had already dispersed the magnetic field on his body and allowed his body to fall freely into the sea water. Plop! The moment he fell into the sea, a fish monster opened its mouth and bit Rorschach. The teeth on this fish's mouth are not intact, and are broken in several places. It seems that it bit something hard before and damaged the teeth. Rorschach didn't pay too much attention. With a turn of the arc blade, he easily killed the fish monster that dared to attack him. Before the blood spread, Rorschach thought, and the arc knife disc that flew out immediately returned to his body, surrounding him and swimming downwards. After entering the sea, Rorschach turned his mental perception to the maximum and scanned the surrounding sea area. He kept patrolling the bottom of the sea, trying to find the eggs of the golden horned giant beast. But along the way, he encountered many monsters, but he didn't see any eggs. The spiritual perception did not detect any special aura. Isn't it in the sea area? Luoxia glanced around and was about to give up. Suddenly, he turned his head sharply and looked again at the place where his eyes had glanced before. In his sight, there was a coral mountain ahead. All kinds of seaweeds hang on this coral mountain. Under the dark seabed, there is no light, and it looks very messy. That's... Rorschach's heart was beating wildly. He slowly leaned over and finally found a giant egg hidden by seaweed at the foot of the messy coral mountain. The egg of the golden horned beast. Rorschach looked at the dark dome and almost shouted. This is definitely the egg of the golden horned giant beast. There are strange golden patterns on the black eggshell, and the whole egg exudes some mysterious power, making people subconsciously ignore this giant egg. But Rorschach's soul is too powerful. Although the power emanating from the dome affected him, it only affected him a little, but it still allowed his sight to finally find the dome. What a powerful life force! Rorschach carefully felt the life in the dome. In his perception, the extremely strong power of life was brewing in the dome, and the life form of the golden horned giant beast had already taken shape. Seal the soul seal. Rorschach condensed mysterious soul marks one after another and hit them on the black dome. This sealed soul seal is a kind of soul seal recorded on the soul seal. It can seal the target's consciousness, causing its consciousness and soul to fall into a stagnant sleep. As Rorschach fired the soul seal, the golden pattern of the black dome began to shine, and a circle of strange energy appeared from the golden pattern, blocking the soul seal. There should be more at night. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo-Yoon Song. Chapter 117. Seeing the mysterious power emerging from the golden pattern on the black dome, how could Luoxia allow it to block his soul seal? He was suspended in the dark, deep water. The spiritual power in the sea of consciousness boiled, and the golden ball and the spiritual power planet rotated crazily, bursting out with bright light. Rorschach's eyes seemed to be ignited with golden flames, and they were bright and golden. Suppression. He drove the 99 soul seals and pressed towards the black dome. Buzz. The golden patterns on the dome seemed to be breathing, and golden energy burst out, forming a golden shield. This golden shield is extremely magical. It can not only resist physical attacks, but also block the power of mental power. Rorschach's condensed soul seal and shield collided together. Ripples appeared on the golden shield, but the soul seal could not be broken through. I knew it wouldn't be easy. Seeing that his soul seal could not be removed, Luoxia was not discouraged and waved his hand to disperse the soul seal. Before the golden horned giant beast was born, the eggshell had the power of protection. This was something that had been expected for a long time. Rorschach looked at the golden horned beast egg protected by a golden shield. In his perception, the life in the egg seemed to be hatching faster due to his stimulation. Try to see if physical attacks can break through this golden shield. Otherwise, we will be in trouble when the golden horned giant beast breaks out of its shell. Rorschach muttered to himself and slowly retreated a distance. As he retreated, a sharp red fragment flew out of the storage space and floated in front of him. Immediately afterwards, the gray field unfolded, kamikaze kick, 16 times speed. Boom! The sea water around him suddenly exploded, causing waves of terrifying ripples on the bottom of the sea. The moment the vacuum appeared, Rorschach disappeared. At the same time, his mind controlled the fragments of the red mixed copper mother, and with unparalleled potential energy, he rushed towards the black dome protected by the golden shield. All the potential energy brought by the high-speed movement was transferred to the red mixed copper mother. At the same time, a 117-fold amplitude of telekinesis also acted on the red mixed copper mother, plus a 16-fold power explosion. Call out. The red mixed copper mother shot out and turned into an extremely thin red silk thread. Sea water evaporates. The space it passes through becomes faintly distorted at the moment. There was only a crisp sound as the red mixed copper mother hit the golden shield. The impregnable energy shield was easily broken at this moment. The moment the golden shield was broken, the black dome suddenly trembled. In that huge eggshell, a terrifying and powerful breath of life filled the air, as if some ancient beast was about to revive. It was at this moment that Rorschach's figure flashed to the side of the dome. He instantly condensed 99 soul seals and struck them on the shell of the black dome. Follow the sealing soul seal. Chain-like traces appeared on the black eggshell. These chain-like traces crisscrossed the black eggshell, sealing away the life breath of the dome and the soul consciousness that was about to awaken within it and fell asleep. When the black dome fell completely silent, Luoxia breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. Sure enough, the red mixed copper mother is better. Now that we have obtained the egg of the golden horned giant beast, whether it is slavery or seizing its body, it will be easier to handle. He stepped forward, grabbed the golden horned giant beast's egg with both hands, and hugged it hard. Well, the surface is too smooth, so it's not easy to handle. He glanced at the coral mountain next to him, and with a sudden movement of his mind, he took in all the corals and formed a huge egg frame. Then he put the egg of the golden horned beast into the egg frame, drove the egg frame with his mental power, and slowly flew towards the sea. Puff! Breaking through the sea surface, Luoxia's mental power grabbed the egg frame made of coral, took the black giant egg, turned into two meteors, and flew towards the Jiangnan Bay city. Brother, are you at home? Luoxia called Luo Feng. Luo Feng, I'm in the gravity room. Why, are you coming back? Well, I'll be home soon. I'll give you and Babata a surprise later. Rorschach glanced at the black dome flying beside him and said with a chuckle. What surprise? Babata's voice rang from the phone. You guys will know when I get home, Rorschach said. Babata couldn't help but said, mysterious. Soon after, Rorschach returned to his villa with the black dome. At this time, my parents were not at home, they seemed to have gone out for a walk. This saved Rorschach time to explain, and he took the golden horned beast's egg directly to the gravity chamber. Brother, open the door. Tisk. The door to the gravity room opened. Luo Feng was startled when he saw Luoxia standing at the door and the giant egg beside him. He asked curiously, what is this? It looks like some kind of egg. As he said that, he seemed to have come to his senses and glared at Luoxia. You wouldn't go to the sea and steal the egg of a certain sea beast and come back, would you? Looking at the size, it must be at least the egg of an emperor-level sea beast. Brother, have you turned off gravity? It's closed. Just close it. Let me and this egg go in first. Upon hearing this, Luo Feng stepped forward to help Luoxia carry the black dome into the gravity chamber. After closing the door, Babata emerged and looked curiously at the black dome that Rorschach brought back. Is this the surprise you brought back? I'm watching, wait a minute. Halfway through her words, her eyes suddenly widened. Seeing her expression as if she had seen a ghost, Luo Feng couldn't help but ask, Babata, what's wrong with you? Is there something wrong with this egg? No. It's wrong. Babata ignored Luo Feng and instead walked around the black dome. While observing, his expression became extremely solemn. How could this thing appear on Earth? This is impossible. However, its appearance and characteristics completely match the information in my database. Seeing Baba Tower flying around the black dome, Luo Feng looked stunned and asked, Baba Tower? What on earth is this? Rorschach. Suddenly, Babata flew in front of Rorschach with a face full of excitement, her delicate face almost touching his face. How did you get the egg of this starry sky beast? Luo Feng was stunned and confused. The egg of the starry sky beast. The egg of the starry sky beast. Rorschach pretended to be surprised and asked Babata, Babata, you said this egg is the egg of the starry sky beast. That's right. Babata nodded excitedly, flew back to the black dome, looked carefully at the gold patterns on the black eggshell, and said, "And this is not the egg of an ordinary starry sky beast. It is the egg of the golden horned giant beast with an extremely peak pedigree." Then, she flew in front of Rorschach and asked with shining eyes, "Rorschach, where did you find this egg? Logically speaking, eggs of starry sky beasts should not exist on Earth." "I found it in the sea. It looked so big at the time, I thought it was the egg of a certain beast, king sea beast. When I first came into contact with it, it still had a golden shield. I used red mixed copper mother to break the shield, and then used the soul seal to seal the vitality and soul consciousness inside." "Well done, Rorschach." When Rorschach finished speaking, Babata couldn't wait to clap his hands, looking extremely excited. "This egg probably fell to the earth not long ago," Babata explained. "Generally speaking, it is difficult for people to find the egg of a starry sky beast before it hatches, because its eggshell has protective power." She pointed to the gold patterns on the black eggshell. "These are the gold patterns. These gold patterns can prevent it from being discovered by various surveillance equipment, and will also activate a protective shield when the egg is attacked." Saying that, Babata looked at Rorschach excitedly and said excitedly, "I didn't expect you to bring such a big surprise. You know, the egg of this starry sky beast is extremely precious. When immortal powerhouses like the Master see it, they will fight for it frantically, and a horrific war will break out that affects countless star fields. It may even attract a being stronger than an immortal level powerhouse to take action directly." Luo Feng opened his mouth, a little frightened by Babata's words. "Is this egg so precious? Even the immortal level powerhouses have to fight for it crazily, and they will also attract beings more terrifying than the immortal level powerhouses to take action." Immortal level. According to Babata, it is an eternal existence, a legendary god, an existence that can be resurrected even if the body and soul are destroyed to only a trace of cells left. How powerful should a being that is stronger than the immortal level be? Would such a strong man take action because of this huge black egg in front of him? Luo Feng thought of this and asked Babata, "Babata, please explain to me quickly, what kind of egg is this?" Babata raised the frames of the glasses that had appeared at some point, looked at Luo Feng and Luo Xia and explained. "I told you about the starry sky beast last time. The starry sky beast in the universe is very powerful. And among the many bloodlines of the starry sky beast, they are also divided into 3 levels. One of the strongest bloodlines is that when it grows to its peak, it will have the strength of a world lord. This is the strongest bloodline in the universe. The flame star behemoth that I introduced grew up eating stars, is such a peak bloodline." Babata's little hand patted the black dome. "And the giant egg we are seeing now, if the information recorded in my database is correct, is the egg of the golden horned behemoth who is also at the top. It is more ferocious than the flame star beast. It is also more famous. Once the golden horned giant beast fully grows up, it will be at the realm lord level. It is extremely ferocious and violent, and extremely aggressive. If it is allowed to hatch, no one on the earth will be its opponent. By then, what you will face will be the ultimate disaster of annihilation. Fortunately, Luo Xia has now sealed it with the Master's soul seal, inhibiting its hatching." Babata looked at Rorschach and smiled. In other words, Rorschach unintentionally saved the entire Earth. When Luo Feng heard that the golden horned giant beast was so dangerous, he subconsciously said, "Babata, since this golden horned giant beast is so dangerous, let's kill it quickly before it hatches." Babata looked at Luo Feng with an incredulous look. Luo Feng was puzzled by her look. "What's wrong? Did I say something wrong?" "No. Of course it's not." Babata put his hands on his hips and stared at Luo Feng. "Do you know how precious this egg is? Even an immortal level expert is willing to trade all his belongings for it. But it's very dangerous." Luo Feng said. "It is very dangerous. But it is also an opportunity for you, Babata interrupted Luo Feng. Opportunity, Luo Feng looked at Babata in confusion. Babata nodded and said, I have told you before, you Earthlings have very poor qualifications. It is very difficult to reach the Realm Lord, let alone an immortal who is stronger than the Realm Lord. She looked at Luo Feng and Luo Xia. When we were under Kiri's Hima, I told you that if you want to achieve immortality, you'd better seize some races with better bloodlines in the universe. This can greatly reduce your chances of becoming immortal. Immortal difficulty. Babata pointed to the egg of the golden horned giant beast and said with great excitement. And this golden horned giant beast is one of the strongest and pinnacle bloodlines in the universe. Just take it. From now on, your path to becoming a strong person will be a smooth road. You can move forward. Luo Feng opened his mouth, seize the body. Rorschach was silent, but when he looked at the egg of the golden horned beast, he had no intention of seizing it. He was already used to being a human being, so it was really difficult for him to not be a human being. Moreover, he felt that with his strong understanding and soul, his future achievements would never be lower than those of his eldest brother Luo Feng, who captured the golden horned giant beast in the original work. Babata looked at Luo Feng and Luo Xia angrily. Are you still reluctant to part with your human body? I told you that the most fundamental thing about a person is the soul. What is before you now is a great opportunity that only comes once in billions of years in the universe. You are still reluctant to part with your earthly bodies. Now, as long as you seize the body of the golden horned giant beast, you will have the opportunity to surpass the master and become one of the strongest people in the universe who can command countless groups. Luo Feng looked towards Luo Xia, Xiao Xia. Luo Xia didn't wait for Luo Feng to finish, then shook his head and said, I will not seize my life. I feel that with my talent and understanding, I will eventually surpass the teacher and stand above the billions of people in the universe. Luo Feng was startled. Yes, his younger brother's talent and understanding are the strongest among human beings. Babata called him the greatest miracle in the past 50,000 years. Even if there is no body-stealing golden horned giant beast, his future achievements will never be low. What about yourself? Luo Feng began to lower his head and think deeply. Babata looked at Rorschach and said in surprise, Rorschach, do you really not want to seize the body? This is one of the most powerful and pinnacle bloodlines in the universe, the golden horned giant beast. Rorschach smiled at Babata, shook his head and said, well, I won't take away the body. If you want to persuade, just persuade my brother to go. I don't need it. Seeing Rorschach's determination, Babata couldn't help but sigh. No one would think of rejecting such a huge opportunity in front of any life in the universe. But Rorschach just refused. I don't know whether to call him stupid or call him strong-willed and confident. But this kind of strong self-confidence is indeed the mentality that a strong person should have. Since Rorschach did not want to seize the body, Babata could only place her hope on Luo Feng. She turned to look at Luo Feng and began to persuade. Luo Feng, as Luo Xia said, his talent and understanding are very strong even in the entire universe. Although limited by the physical qualifications of people on Earth, it will be difficult for him to become a strong person, but as long as if he works hard, he is destined to become a strong man. Babata shook his head, although I don't want to hurt you, the gap between you and Rorschach is very big. This gap is difficult to make up without special means. If you still want to climb to the top and compete with all the geniuses in the universe, the body-stealing golden horned behemoth is your only choice now. Luo Feng frowned and looked at Babata, do we have to seize the body? Babata was helpless, are you so reluctant to part with your earthly human body? But, if I take away the body, what will Su Xian do? Luo Feng asked. Su Xian was where he struggled. If he takes away the golden horned beast, how can he and Su Xian still fall in love? He didn't think Su Xian would fall in love with someone who was not a human being. Babata suddenly realized, So that's the problem with why you don't want to seize the body of the golden horned giant beast, I understand. She thought slightly. Then, she suddenly took out a small silver plaque from the storage space, like a necklace on earth. Babata looked at Luo Feng and said, "You can give this to Su Xin." Luo Feng took the small silver sign and asked doubtfully, "What is this?" "Eternal love," Babata said. Luo Feng looked at the small silver sign in front of him blankly. "Eternal love. What's the use of this thing?" Babata explained, "You may not know that without physical limitations, a living soul can survive for 1000 epochs under normal circumstances. And in the universe, there are some special beings who are born with eternal bodies. Their bodies will never age. They will die only when their souls completely age and die. And this small silver plate I gave you contains strange genetic material extracted from the eternal body. This genetic material can transform Su Xin's body so that it has an eternal body. The eternal body has a lifespan of 1000 epochs and is immortal. Only by killing the soul can the person with the eternal body die completely. Of course, the eternal body sounds good, but it has one of the biggest shortcomings, which is that after becoming the eternal body, you can no longer practice. The universe is fair, and you have a long lifespan, but the price is that you can't practice." Babata looked at Luo Feng, paused, and continued. "My idea is that you give the eternal love to Su Xin so that she can have a long life. Then you come to take over the body of the golden horned beast. I have heard from the master that there is a powerful secret method in the universe that can create a clone. When the time comes, you can slowly look for that secret method. When you get that secret method, you can create a human clone, and then you can continue to be with Su Xin." After listening to this, Luo Xia nodded, "This is indeed a good idea. I just don't know if Su Xin can wait that long. But the fact is that the golden horned beast has the ability to clone. As long as Luo Feng takes over the body of the golden horned beast, he can use the ability of clone to directly breed a human clone. But Luo Xia can't tell this information. Otherwise, Babata and his elder brother Luo Feng will ask Luo Xia how he knew it." Luo Feng held the eternal love and twisted his eyebrows together. He did not agree immediately, but said to Babata, "Wait for me to think about it." As he said, he took the eternal love and left. Luo Xia blinked his eyes, did not go forward to persuade, and watched Luo Feng turn around and leave the gravity room. In the matter of whether to continue to be a human, only Luo Feng can make the decision. Babata wanted to say something. Luo Xia stopped her and said, "Babata, let my brother think about it himself." He looked at the egg of the golden horned beast and continued, "Besides, I think it's a good idea to enslave the golden horned beast even if I don't take over the body of the golden horned beast." Babata thought for a while and said, "It's indeed possible to enslave the golden horned beast, but if you are discovered by the Star Beast clan, you will become the enemy of the entire Star Beast clan. At that time, they will definitely hunt you all over the universe. Let's talk about it later. It's better if Big Brother takes over the body of the golden horned beast." Luo Xia said. "It's like taking over the body of the golden horned beast will not chase you. But in fact, both taking over and enslaving will provoke the Star Beast. However, the huge opportunity is right in front of us, can we just watch it slip away?" Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 118. Chapter 118, The Golden Horned Giant Beast That Seizes the Body, another 20,000 word update, please subscribe. After Luo Feng left home, he subconsciously came to Jiangnan University. Su Xin and the others were still in class at this time. He didn't bother Su Xin, but went to the university's outdoor stadium alone and walked along the track alone. Su Xin was taking a management class from an old professor. From time to time, she lowered her head to take notes with a very serious look on her face. Suddenly, Lu Tingting, who was sitting next to Su Xin, poked her hand. "Hey, Su Xian." Lu Tingting shouted in a low voice. Su Xian looked at her and asked in a low voice, "What's wrong?" Lu Tingting pointed out the window, "It seems your boyfriend is here to find you." Because Luo Feng once came to Jiangnan University to find Su Xian, Lu Tingting met Luo Feng. "Luo Feng? He came to me?" Su Xian followed Lu Tingting's instructions in surprise and looked out the window. She saw a familiar figure on the school's plastic track, frowning and walking slowly, as if thinking about something. Su Xian was startled and stood up subconsciously. Seeing Su Xian's actions, the old professor on the stage raised his glasses on the bridge of his nose in surprise and asked, "Classmate Su Xian, do you have any questions?" Su Xian blinked and said to the professor on the stage, "Teacher Li, I feel a little uncomfortable in my stomach." "Oh, I understand, go ahead." Professor Li nodded and allowed Su Xian to walk out of the classroom. Lu Tingting shook her fist towards Su Xian who was leaving and said, "Come on." Su Xian's heart is full of Luo Feng now. Although she doesn't know what Luo Feng is thinking, Luo Feng definitely needs her by his side at this moment. She didn't see Lu Tingting's movements at all. After walking out of the classroom, she started running and ran towards the school's outdoor stadium. Luo Feng was walking on the plastic runway. He lowered his head slightly, as if thinking about something, and his heroic eyebrows were knitted together, looking very tangled. "Hu, ho, ho." At this time, a gasping voice sounded in his ears. Luo Feng raised his head and saw Su Xian, leaning on her knees, stopping in front of him and panting. "Su Xian." He called her name. Su Xian raised her head, with a bright smile on her face dripping with sweat, and looked at Luo Feng, "Why are you here?" Luo Feng opened his mouth, wanting to say something. Finally, he said, "Come for a walk with me." "Good." Seeing that something was wrong with Luo Feng's mood, Su Xian stepped forward and took his hand, leading him to walk slowly in Jiangnan University. The two of them walked in the peaceful and quiet university like this. It's great, to be able to walk quietly in the university like this. Luo Feng looked at the sunlight leaking from the shade of the trees and said with a relaxed smile. Yes. Su Xian nodded, feeling the warmth brought by Luo Feng's big hands, and said, "Actually, I want to thank you." "What?" "It is precisely because of warriors like you who resisted those terrifying monsters that my classmates and I were able to sit safely in the classroom and attend class." Su Xian smiled and tilted her head to look at Luo Feng. "Without you, where would we have such a quiet and peaceful environment? That's why I say, thank you." She pulled Luo Feng to sit down on a stone chair by the roadside. "Let's sit here for a while." Luo Feng hugged Su Xian and leaned on the stone chair. The breeze blows from afar, soft and warm. Su Xian leaned in Luo Feng's arms and listened to his strong heartbeat. Not sure how much time had passed, Luo Feng said, "Su Xian." "Yes. I'm here," Su Xian murmured. Luo Feng looked down at her face and asked softly, "Will you always be here?" Su Xian raised her head, looked at Luo Feng, looked into his bright eyes, and said with a smile, "Of course, I will always be here." "What's wrong? Are you worried about something?" Su Xian held Luo Xia's big hand with both hands and said in a firm and serious tone, "Although I may not be able to help you with anything, I can be a good listener, stand by your side, and face everything with you." "Su Xian, you are so kind." Luo Feng looked at the girl longingly, then suddenly lowered his head and kissed her. Su Xian was stunned for a moment, but she didn't refuse. She raised her head and indulged in her boyfriend's blazing tenderness. After a long time, the lips parted. Su Xian leaned into Luo Feng's arms with a rosy complexion, panting lightly, I almost can't breathe." Luo Feng hugged Su Xian with a smile on his face, but there were many complicated emotions in this smile. He suddenly asked, Su Xian, if one day I have to leave, will you wait for me? Leave? Su Xian suddenly raised her head and looked at Luo Feng steadily. You want to leave? Well, I mean, what if? Luo Feng turned his gaze slightly, not daring to look at Su Xian. One day I leave, and I don't know when I will come back. Will you wait for me? Su Xian looked at Luo Feng and just looked at him. Suddenly, she leaned into Luo Feng's arms again and said softly, of course I will wait for you. As long as you are alive, I will keep waiting. Even if I get old or die soon, I will still wait you. Although her tone was light, it was full of determination. Luo Feng was filled with emotion. Su Xian. He took out eternal love, looked at Su Xian and said, this is for you. Eternal love looks very beautiful, and Su Xian is a little happy and delighted. Although Luo Feng usually gave her some gifts when he came to see her, he had never given her anything special like necklaces and rings. It's called eternal love. I'll help you put it on. No matter what happens in the future, don't take it off, because it can still protect you. Luo Feng explained while putting eternal love around Su Xian's neck. Su Xian looked down at the small silver sign hanging on her chest, with a smile on her lips, and said, well, I won't take it off. Just take a shower. Luo Feng smiled and said, it's made of special material. It's okay for you to take a bath with it, so you can't take it off, you know. Well, I understand. Su Xian nodded and leaned happily into Luo Feng's arms. In the gravity room, Rorschach sat cross-legged on the cushion, and his consciousness had entered the virtual space created by Babata. At this time, he was learning to understand the soul seal and wanted to develop the kind of enslaving soul seal he envisioned. Babata sat aside, a little angry. The egg of the golden horned giant beast, what an opportunity! The opportunity that countless powerful people in the universe want but cannot get is now in front of Luo Feng and Luo Xia, and they don't want it. She was really pissed off. At this time, Babata suddenly sensed the situation in the outside world and found that Luo Feng was back. She couldn't help but said to Luo Xia, your eldest brother is back. Let's go out and see what he thinks. If your eldest brother is not willing, just enslave this golden horned beast. Rorschach nodded, closed the soul seal book in his hand, and exited the virtual space with Babata. Seeing Luo Feng, Babata asked directly, Luo Feng, what are you thinking about? This soul seal cannot always seal the egg of this golden horned beast, and you don't have much time to think about it. After Rorschach broke the power of the golden pattern on the eggshell did not completely dissipate, but was slowly repaired. Once it is restored to its original state, the effect of the soul seal will disappear. At the same time, the golden horned giant beast in the egg will immediately break out of its shell. At that time, it will be quite difficult to seize the body or enslave it. Someone may have something to say. Can't you keep using the soul seal to seal the golden horned beast's egg? This method is naturally possible. But the golden horned giant beast will also continue to develop resistance during this process. The power of the soul seal will only become weaker and weaker. In the end, it was unable to have any effect on the golden horned behemoth. Moreover, if the golden horned giant beast is sealed for too long, it will not be born smoothly, and it will die directly in the egg and become a stillborn fetus. Luo Feng looked at Babata and said, I have thought about it. I will seize the body of this golden horned giant beast. Babata was surprised, looked at Luo Feng, and asked again, have you really thought about it? Luo Feng looked at Babata and Rorschach and said, of course. I've thought about it. As Babata said, my talents are limited. If I want to keep up with Xiao Xia and protect Su Xian and the others in the future, the only way at present is to seize the body. On the way back, Luo Feng thought, if one day, a greater crisis comes to the earth, neither his strength nor Rorschach's strength can protect the earth, parents, and Su Xian. What should he do at that time? If at that time, he recalled his decision not to seize the golden horned beast today, would he regret it? After thinking for a long time, he knew that he would definitely regret it. I regret not seizing the body of the golden horned giant beast. But when that time comes, is there any use in regretting? It was this thought that made Luo Feng make up his mind. In order to protect my family and Su Xian, I must become stronger. Even if this kind of becoming stronger will make him farther and farther away from his family and lover, he doesn't want to look back on today and feel extremely regretful one day. Babata was very happy to see Luo Feng made up his mind, and said excitedly, "Now that you have made up your mind, let's start preparing to seize the body." Luo Feng nodded, looked at Luo Xia and said, "Xiao Xia, when I'm not around from now on, my parents and Ahua will have to take care of you." Luo Xia said, "Brother, you are talking like a separation between life and death. You are seizing the body, but you are not dying. Besides, didn't the ancients say that there is no way out after mountains and rivers, and there is a village with dark flowers and bright willows? Is it possible to seize the body and the golden corner? The giant beast will bring you unexpected surprises. Luo Feng, you start now to raise your spirit to its peak state. When you are ready, you can directly use the secret method of seizing the body. Luo Xia and I will protect you and not let anyone disturb you." Babata paused and then said, "Roar's Hatch has used the soul seal to seal the consciousness and soul of the golden horned giant beast larvae in the egg. If you want to seize the body, it will be very easy and simple." Upon hearing this, Luo Feng sat down directly in front of the black dome and began to adjust his mental state to reach its peak state. Babata looked at Luo Xia and said, "Next, no one can disturb Luo Feng. When the time comes, if anyone comes to Luo Feng, you will have to deal with it." "No problem," Luo Xia nodded. Not sure how much time had passed, Luo Feng said, "Babata, I've adjusted." "Then just take the body," Babata said. Luo Feng nodded, slowly closed his eyes, and his spiritual power penetrated into the black dome. In the black dome, he sensed a larvae of life. It looks a bit like a lion, but it has wings and is covered with scales, exuding a terrifying and fierce aura. This larvae of life is currently trapped by chains, its consciousness is silent, as if it is dead. Luo Feng's mental power extended towards the head of the golden horned beast. The larvae of the golden horned giant beast remained motionless and showed no reaction. However, the next second, Luo Feng was stunned. The sea of consciousness of the golden horned giant beast is not in its head. Generally speaking, the sea of consciousness of life is in the head. However, the universe is infinitely vast, and it is not too surprising that the consciousness of some beings is not in the head. Luo Feng calmed down slightly and let his mental power extend downward along the young body of the golden horned giant beast. Finally, inside the body of the golden horned giant beast, Luo Feng's mental power discovered a transparent crystal ball that was as big as a walnut and emitted golden light. This crystal ball has extremely complex golden dense patterns. Its complexity is more mysterious than the golden patterns on the eggshell. These golden patterns emit golden light. The soul of the golden horned beast should be inside this crystal ball. Luo Feng thought and began to try to use his mental power to break through the crystal ball's defense. It's just that the defensive power of this crystal ball is very powerful. Luo Feng's mental power, which had been condensed into a needle, was unable to break through the defense of the crystal ball. And when he tried to break through the crystal ball defense in the golden horned behemoth's body, the golden horned behemoth began to show signs of recovery. The bound life larvae moved. In the real world, Rorschach and the others also saw the black eggshells moving. Babata's face was solemn. The larvae of the golden horned giant beast are beginning to attack the power of the soul seal. Luo Feng must hurry up, otherwise when the larvae of the golden horned giant beast completely breaks the seal, if he wants to seize the body as easily as now, it's impossible. And it will also increase a lot of danger. Rorschach's heart moved and he asked Babida, Babida, can I help with this process of seizing the body? Babida shook his head, you can only seize the body by yourself, outsiders can't help. That's it? Luo Xia looked at Luo Feng, who was sitting cross-legged in the black dome, that's up to the elder brother himself. The inner world of the golden horned giant beast. Luo Feng was still trying to break through the crystal ball's defense, but the crystal ball's defense was extremely strong and his mental power could not break through at all. What should I do? Luo Feng subconsciously had the idea of retreating, do you want to give up? But as soon as this thought arose, he threw it away. No. We have come this far, how can we give up? I must keep getting stronger. Not only as Xioxia's eldest brother, he didn't want to fall behind, but also because he wanted to protect his family and Su Xian. Babida said that the universe is vast and extremely dangerous. If you don't have enough power to protect the Earth and your family, maybe one day, the Earth will become a slave planet of other aliens. He would never allow his parents, younger brother, and lover to become someone else's slave. Luo Feng's eyes became firm again. Since ordinary mental power cannot break through the defense of the crystal ball, then use the secret method of the fallen ink star, Soul Knife Slash. Soul Knife Slash was accidentally obtained by Hu Yanbo in a ruins. It is an extremely powerful spiritual attack secret method. There are no special requirements for practicing it. Luo Feng usually learns the secret technique when he has time. When used at this time, the huge mental power immediately condensed into a big sword. Go. Luo Feng used the sword formed by his mental power to slash at the crystal ball of the golden horned beast. Buzz. The soul knife fell on the crystal ball's defense, and finally, click, in Luo Feng's perception, the crystal ball's defense was broken. Luo Feng's original mental power was not weak. In addition, the young golden horned beast was sealed by Rorschach's soul seal at this time, and its consciousness was silent. The spontaneous defense of the crystal ball was not very strong. The wound was immediately opened by Luo Feng's powerful and heavy soul knife slash. The hole is not big, but the gap is enough for Luo Feng's mental power to penetrate into it. After his mental power entered the crystal ball, Luo Feng sensed the soul of the golden horned giant beast larvae. He was slightly surprised, is the soul of the larvae so powerful before it breaks out of its shell? Luo Feng didn't waste much time on being surprised. He immediately used his spiritual power as a lead to let his soul escape from the human body and enter the crystal ball of the golden horned giant beast. Seize the body. Luo Feng used a secret technique to directly swallow the soul of the golden horned giant beast larvae. Reality outside. Luo Xia suddenly saw that his eldest brother's body, sitting cross-legged, had lost the breath of life and was leaning to the side. He quickly stepped forward to support Luo Feng's body and asked Babida. Babida, did my brother succeed in seizing the body? Babida stared at the egg of the golden horned giant beast. Various data streams flashed through her eyes. After a while, she said uncertainly, it should be successful, right? Rorschach frowned, what do you mean should? Babida said, seizing the body requires a process, and whether we can successfully seize the body can only be judged after the golden horned beast in the eggshell breaks out. Hearing this, Luo Xia said, if the eldest brother does not succeed in seizing the body, then what emerges from the shell will be a real golden horned giant beast. We can no longer put the eggs here, we have to find a safe place where there is no one location. Babida thought for a moment, called up the map, and said, let's go to Mist Island. Although the Beast King there is still there, the island is filled with fog. At that time, even if the golden horned beast breaks out of its shell, it will not be discovered. Luo Xia thought about it and felt that Mist Island was a good place. He nodded and said, okay, let's go directly. He directly put Luo Feng's body into the storage space, and then took the black giant egg on the intelligent fighter and flew towards Mist Island. The fighter was very fast. In less than an hour, it arrived above Mist Island. This place has not been destroyed by the war. The thick fog shrouded the island and the lake, making it impossible to see the scenery clearly. Luoxia released his breath and let the fighter fly over the lake and landed on the island in the middle of the lake. The monsters in the lake felt Luoxia's terrifying breath and did not dare to come out to cause trouble. They huddled in the lake and watched the fighter fly by. Thanks to book friend 202009291145247666 for the 500 Kidian coins. Thanks to book friend Tingling UEB for the 100 U coins. Thank you very much. Yesterday's subscription should be pretty good, with the highest subscription of more than 500. I really appreciate the support of all readers. I will continue to work hard to update and give back to everyone. Finally, I would like to ask all readers for the monthly tickets, recommendation tickets, and follow-up subscriptions. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Swallowed Star, My Understanding is Beyond Belief. Author, Bo Yoon Song. Chapter 119. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. On the 5th day, the egg of the golden horned beast still did not change. Rorschach was a little anxious. Looking at the motionless black giant egg, Rorschach could not help but wonder if his elder brother had failed to seize the body. If his elder brother failed to seize the body and died completely, how would he explain to his family? How would he explain to senior sister Sue Xin? In this panic and anxiety, Rorschach was extremely upset. That day, Rorschach suddenly received a call from Sue Xin. He answered the call hesitantly. Hello, senior. Is that Xiao Xia? It's me, what's up, senior? I just can't get through to your elder brother, so I want to ask if he's with you. Listening to Sue Xin's question on the phone, Luoxia glanced at the black dome, and then said, I see, my brother is not with me now. He's on a mission, and I can't contact him now. Then do you know when your elder brother will be back? Sue Xin asked again. Luoxia thought for a while and replied, my brother told me about this before he left. He said that he would be back in 2 or 3 years at most, or a year at the fastest. Sue Xin was stunned, and tightened the medical record in his hand. It takes so long. Luoxia's tone was a little guilty. But this time is really not made up by him. In the original work, the clone talent of the golden horned beast can only be used when the strength reaches the star level, the universe level, and the realm master level. And the strength of the newly born golden horned beast is only the planetary level. It will take a year to reach the star level. It was also at that time that Luo Feng could use the clone ability of the golden horned beast to give birth to the body of an earthling. No. Sue Xin's tone was a little lost. She looked down at the report on the medical form, and thought of the scene when Luo Feng came to the university to find her not long ago. She suddenly said to Luoxia, Xiao Xia, if you can contact your eldest brother later, remember to tell him that I have a child, my child, and I will wait for him to come back. Luoxia was startled, looked at Babata next to him, and then looked at the black giant egg. He vaguely felt that the black giant egg moved. He said, okay, I know. Sister-in-law, when I can contact my eldest brother, I will tell him the good news. Haha. I didn't expect that I would be an uncle. Sue Xin blushed when she heard Luoxia change his name for her. She said to Luoxia, let's do this first. Wait, Luoxia stopped Sue Xin, sister-in-law. Since you have my eldest brother's child, why don't you move directly to my house, so that your parents can take care of you? This, Xiao Xia, there's no rush for this matter. I still have to go to college. Let's talk about it during the summer vacation. Sue Xin thought about it and said to Luoxia. She and Luo Feng's child was actually born during the winter vacation this year when they were together and couldn't control themselves. It's only been less than 3 months now, and she hasn't shown any signs of pregnancy. If she hadn't felt something was wrong these 2 days and came to the hospital for a checkup, she wouldn't have known she was pregnant. Luo Xia slapped his head and said, "I didn't think it through." "Okay, then I know, sister-in-law. Okay, let's do this first." Su Xian hung up the phone with Luo Xia. Luo Xia looked at Babata happily and said, "Haha, Babata, I didn't expect my eldest brother to have a child. That's great. I'm going to be an uncle." A stream of data flashed in Babata's eyes. In a short moment, she had already hacked into the database of the hospital where Su Xian went for examination and saw Su Xian's diagnosis and treatment report. She folded her hands, looked at the black giant egg, and smiled. "Now we just have to wait for Luo Feng to break out of the shell." Luo Xia looked at the black giant egg expectantly. "Yes, big brother, come out quickly, then you can hold your own child." The black giant egg moved, as if responding to Luo Xia and Babata. In the blink of an eye, another month passed. On this day, Luo Xia was beside the black giant egg, comprehending the golden pattern on the eggshell. Suddenly, "Ka ka ka." The black giant egg trembled slightly, and the frequency of the tremor became higher and higher. "Babata," Luo Xia called out. "Babata in the wristband, is the golden horned beast about to break out of the shell?" Babata looked at the black giant egg. The black egg began to vibrate violently, and the vibration amplitude became larger and larger. Crack! Accompanied by a crisp sound. A crack appeared on the surface of the black egg, followed by a series of pop, pop, pop explosions. The black egg broke open, and a dark, mucus-covered unknown object emerged from the eggshell. Rorschach and Babata looked at the golden horned beast nervously. Crack, crack. After the golden horned beast emerged from the eggshell, it began to devour the eggshell frantically, and it looked like a hungry ghost, devouring it frantically. In just over 10 minutes, about 1/3 of the elliptical egg with a diameter of 12 meters was eaten. The whole body of the golden horned beast was also fully revealed. It was pitch black, covered with black scales, and had strong limbs. On its huge body, there is a pair of scaly wings, and behind it is a tail that is swaying like a dragon's tail. On its ferocious and hideous head, there is a black horn that points to the sky, and on the horn, there are mysterious golden markings. The golden horned behemoth didn't care about Rorschach and Babata at all, and just kept devouring the eggshells as if they were the most delicious food in the world. Every time it eats some eggshells, its body will grow 1 point. When the golden horned giant beast had eaten all the eggshells, its body length had grown to 16 meters, all the mucus on its body was absorbed, and its body shape became clearer. If you look closely at this time, you will find that the golden horned giant beast has mysterious golden markings all over its body. These golden markings spread out along the scales on the horn, head, neck, and back, as if a layer of golden markings were integrated into its back. Then, there were several golden markings scattered from the back and extending towards the back. Wings and claws on limbs. The appearance of the golden horned beast looks very ferocious and terrifying. Luo Xia looked up at the golden horned beast more than 10 meters tall and shouted, "Brother! It's me!" A familiar voice sounded in Rorschach's mind. "Brother!" Luo Xia was overjoyed and looked at the golden horned giant beast in front of him happily. If it was in the past, he would definitely go up and hug Luo Feng, but now the golden horned giant beast's body is too big. With his figure, even Luo Feng's thighs can't endless hugs. Babata next to him was also very happy and excited. This was a great opportunity that might not come in billions of years, and Luo Feng finally grasped it. "Sure enough, Luo Feng, you succeeded in seizing the body. How are you feeling now?" Babata asked. Luo Feng looked down at his current body, then moved his limbs and wings, and said, "Except for being a little uncomfortable with my current body, everything else feels pretty good." Babata smiled and said, "You are already doing very well. Because the one you took away was the larvae of the golden horned giant beast. When you were in the eggshell, your soul began to merge with the body, so after breaking out of the shell, you ability to move freely. If you take the body of a golden horned giant beast that has already broken out of its shell, it will take a long time to adapt to the body of the golden horned giant beast. When you first take over the body, it may not even be able to walk. It's pretty good now." As Babata spoke, he seemed to remember something, his eyes lit up, and he asked Luo Feng of the golden horned giant beast. "By the way, I heard that all starry sky behemoths have inherited memories. The higher the starry sky behemoth, the greater the inherited memory. When you were in the eggshell, did you get the inherited memory of the golden horned behemoth?" The huge head of the golden horned beast nodded, "Yes, I got it." After Luo Feng took away the body of the golden horned giant beast's larvae, his soul and the new body gradually merged. When the integration was complete, his soul obtained the inherited memory of the golden horned giant beast. Those memories are very huge and vast, ancient memories passed down from generation to generation by golden horned giant beasts, completely displayed in front of Luo Feng. It was also because he had to accept these huge memories that Luo Feng broke out of his shell today. Otherwise, based on the previous situation of the golden horned giant beast larvae, he should be able to hatch out of his shell within 2 or 3 days after taking the body. After all, after the golden horned giant beast's egg was stimulated by Rorschach's power, it sped up the time it took for it to break out of its shell and be born. But those inherited memories were so huge that it took Luo Feng more than 10 days to receive those memories. Babata said excitedly, "Knowledge is power. I heard that the inherited memories of some starry sky beasts can even be traced back to the initial period of the universe. Tell me, what kind of knowledge is there? What amazing secret skills are there?" Luo Feng said, "Because the inheritance memory of the golden horned giant beast is too huge, I made some simple arrangements and summary for them. In the cultivation inheritance of the golden horned giant beast, there are 18 special secret methods that can be practiced, 3199 a common secret." Hearing this, Babata shouted excitedly, "Luo Feng, you've made it! You've made it! It's impossible for even the master to accumulate so much knowledge." Luo Feng himself was not that excited. He said with some helplessness, "However, I don't know which of the 18 special secret techniques and 3199 ordinary secret techniques to learn. These secret techniques are passed down from generation to generation by golden horned giant beasts, and only golden horned giant beasts can practice them. And the inherited memory reminded me that I can't bite off more than I can chew. It told me that I can learn no more than 2 special secrets and no more than 6 ordinary secrets. However, there are too many secrets, and I don't know how to choose." Hearing this, Babata held his chin and said, "In this case, you first tell me the general effects and training conditions of these secret techniques, and I will screen them for you to see if you can achieve the optimal combination." As an intelligent life, Babata has a huge information database and powerful computing power. It is very easy to help Luo Feng select the suitable secret method. The golden horned giant beast nodded and began to talk about the secret techniques in its inherited memory. Rorschach was also listening carefully. Although it is said that these secret techniques can only be practiced by golden horned giant beasts, Luo Xia feels that perhaps these secret techniques can be modified and adjusted so that humans on Earth can also practice them. A few hours later, the golden horned giant beast finished explaining the general effects and training conditions of all the secret techniques. Babata began to calculate and help Luo Feng make matching arrangements. While calculating, she still had time to say to Luo Feng, "This golden horned giant beast should have a secret talent, right? You can also tell me the information about the secret talent, so that I can make the best combination." Luo Feng nodded and began to introduce his secret talent. The so-called innate secret method is a secret method that can be performed naturally without learning, just like the instinct of human breathing. The golden horned giant beast has 3 secret talents. 1. Devour. It can swallow various metals and increase its strength. 2. Strengthen. It can strengthen the body and instantly improve one's speed, strength, and defense. 3. The clone. There is a chance to give birth to a clone at the planet level, universe level, and realm lord level. The clone is equivalent to the second body. As long as the original body does not die and the clone dies, it doesn't matter how many times you die. With this clone talent, I will be able to go home and see Su Xian soon. Luo Feng said with emotion. When he first seized the golden horned beast, he thought that he would not be able to return to his family and see Su Xian before he found the secret method to create a clone. Unexpectedly, this golden horned giant beast's secret talent has a clone. But now, he has just broken out of his shell and is at the planet level, and can already give birth to a clone. Babata couldn't help but ask. Luo Feng, are you sure that the quota for the first clone will be used to breed earthlings? With your innate secret method, you only need a hair or some flesh and blood tissue to give birth to a clone. With this incredible secret method of giving birth to a clone, you can definitely find some humans with powerful bloodlines as the first clone, such as the Manka star. It is difficult to seize the body, but it is easy to find their hair, flesh, and blood tissue. If you really can't give up the social identity of Luo Feng, you can completely undergo a disguise surgery to look like Luo Feng. This is very simple and easy. Luo Feng's tone was firm. I confirm. The first clone is from Earth, and it was conceived with my own genetic material. Seeing Luo Feng's resolute look that could not be changed, Babata nodded and gave no more persuasion. Okay, I have already screened out the special secrets and ordinary secrets to practice for you. Which secret techniques are they? Luo Feng asked. Babata tapped his little hand in the void and said, you should practice the special secret method original heaven and earth and the ordinary secret method absolute space. These 2 secret methods will be very powerful when combined with your innate secret method. Luo Feng thought for a moment, and the effects and cultivation conditions of original world and absolute space immediately came to mind. Original heaven and earth is a secret method that can make the body larger and smaller. Absolute space involves the laws of space. By the end of the training, you can even teleport. Brother, I am very interested in the original world and absolute space. Can you teach me their cultivation methods? Rorschach suddenly asked. Luo Feng was stunned, and looked at Luo Xia with his dark golden eyes, and said, Xiao Xia, it's not that I don't want to teach you, it's just that these secret techniques can only be practiced by golden horned giant beasts. I know, but our ancestors also said that one method can lead to all methods. Although these secret methods can only be practiced by golden horned giant beasts, they may inspire me and allow me to create secret methods that can be practiced by humans. Rorschach said. Hearing this, Luo Feng nodded, I understand, but the cultivation contents of these secret techniques are too vast, and it is difficult to describe and record them in the language of the earth. Babata, do you have any way to allow me to combine these secret techniques? Information to Rorschach. He knew how enlightened his brother was. When you are at the warrior level, you can watch Hong destroy the world and create your own sword technique creation. Maybe this time, he can also understand his own secret method from the unique secret method of the golden horned giant beast? Let me think about it. If you practice the soul seal well, you can condense these secret techniques into a heritage soul seal and pass it on to Luo Xia like the master. Babata thought for a while and said, inherit the soul seal. Luo Feng nodded and said to Luo Xia, Xiao Xia, you have to wait. My current study of the soul seal is not deep enough. When I learn to inherit the soul seal later, I will use the inheritance soul seal to pass these secret techniques on to you. Luo Xia nodded and said with a smile, there is no rush, We have plenty of time. In fact, what I am most interested in is your innate secret method clone, but this is an innate secret method, you will know it naturally, I should not have the chance to learn it. Luo Feng said, there seems to be a way, just wait, I'll look through the inherited memory. After the words fell, the golden horned giant beast lowered its head slightly. Time passed slowly, and half an hour later, Luo Feng's voice sounded in Luo Xia's mind. The secret talents of the golden horned giant beasts all come from the golden secret patterns they are born with, which are the golden secret patterns on the transparent crystal ball in my body. If you can understand those golden secret patterns, you may be able to learn them. Isn't it certain that I have the secret method of talent? Then give it a try. Luo Xia's eyes lit up and he said. Luo Feng nodded, let's give it a try. For the golden horned giant beast, the transparent crystal core in its body is the core and origin of life. It is extremely important and cannot be shown to others easily. But Luo Feng naturally had no reservations about his younger brother. Next, I will let go of the defense in my body, and you can just use your mental power to probe in, Luo Feng said. Luo Xia nodded and sat down in front of the golden horned giant beast. After receiving Luo Feng's guidance, his spiritual consciousness slowly penetrated deep into the golden horned giant beast's body. Not long after, he saw the transparent crystal ball covered with countless mysterious golden patterns. The golden secret patterns on the crystal ball are countless times more mysterious than the secret patterns on the eggshell. Rorschach visualized the golden secret pattern on the crystal ball. At this moment, his brain seemed to be boiling. The inspiration and understanding in his mind burst out crazily. The mysterious golden secret pattern was gradually understood and learned by him. After Luo Feng released the defense in his body, he no longer cared about Rorschach. Whether he could comprehend the innate secret method of the golden horned beast depended on his own understanding. To be honest, Luo Feng didn't think Rorschach could comprehend anything. Because the innate secret method is innate, just like the instinct of breathing when a person is born. This is the gift of life, the innate power of life. From the inherited memory of the golden horned beast, Luo Feng knew. In the universe, no one has been able to copy and comprehend the innate secret method of other lives. Strictly speaking, if you want to get the innate secret method of other lives, there is only one way, which is to take over their bodies. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 120. Time was passing by little by little. Luo Xia was immersed in the perception of the golden secret pattern of the golden horned beast, and he could not feel the passage of time at all. Luo Feng looked at Luo Xia like this, and was stunned, and said to Babada, Xiao Xia, can't he really comprehend the innate secret method of the golden horned beast from the golden secret pattern? Babada said hesitantly, I don't know. Although Luo Xia is the most talented genius I have ever seen, it is too exaggerated to comprehend the innate secret method of other lives. It should be impossible. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw Luo Xia open his eyes. Luo Feng asked, how is it, Xiao Xia? What have you gained? Babada also looked at him expectantly. Although she felt that Luo Xia should not be able to comprehend the innate secret method of the golden horned beast, what if it was? After all, this guy's comprehension is really amazing. Well, there are gains. In the expectant eyes of Luo Feng and Babada, Luo Xia nodded, but soon, his brows slightly frowned, and continued. However, the two innate secrets of the golden horned beast swallowing and clone are both based on the inner world in its crystal core. In other words, there must be an inner world like the golden horned beast in order for these two innate secrets to be used. Luo Feng nodded after hearing this. Now that he has taken over the body of the golden horned beast, he naturally knows what the key to using these two innate secrets is. As Luo Xia said, the inner world in the crystal core of the golden horned beast is the core and key to the use of these two innate secrets. The swallowed metals and things need to be put into the inner world for digestion. The clone is also nurtured in the inner world. Without the inner world, the golden horned beast may not have the innate secrets of swallowing and clone. Babata looked at Luoxia and said, so the gains you mentioned, did you learn the innate secret method of the golden horned beast, strengthening? No, it's not that easy. Luoxia shook his head with a smile, then looked at Luofeng's golden horned beast body at this time, and said, but if I comprehend it a few more times, I should be able to understand the strengthening secret method of the golden horned beast. Babata opened his mouth in surprise. Comprehend it a few more times, and you can understand the strengthening talent of the golden horned beast? That's a secret method of innate talent. Immortal level strongmen cannot learn and comprehend the secret method of innate talent from other lives? Luoxia, an earthling, has done it now. This. Babata doesn't know what expression and words to use to describe Luoxia's understanding. Fortunately, she had been shocked by Luoxia many times before, so after a slight surprise, she regained her composure and said to Luofeng and Luoxia, in this case, after Luofeng finishes his training, Luoxia, you will continue to enter Luofeng's body and comprehend the innate secret pattern of the golden horned beast. Yeah, Luofeng nodded. By the way, Xiao Luofeng seemed to remember something, and suddenly looked at Luoxia, and asked expectantly and worriedly, when I was in the egg before, I vaguely heard Su Xian's voice, talking about something like a child. Luoxia slapped his head and said, I forgot to tell you that more than a month ago, my sister-in-law couldn't contact you, so she called me and said that she was pregnant and had your child. Luofeng was startled, I have a child. Yes, congratulations, brother, you are going to be a father, Luoxia smiled and congratulated. Ha ha ha. I'm going to be a father. Roar. Luofeng was so happy that he wanted to fly, his huge wings flapped, his huge body walked back and forth, he even looked up to the sky excitedly and roared. The roar from the starry sky beast carried the pressure of natural status. The monsters in the lake around the fog island heard Luofeng's roar, and fled from the vicinity of the lake island in fear. It took a while for Luofeng to calm down. He looked down at his current body and said, Su Xian actually has a child with me. I will breed an earthling clone now. When the clone is successfully bred, I can go to see Su Xian and my child. Brother, it takes a lot of time to breed your clone, right? Luoxia asked. Luofeng nodded, well, depending on the strength of the clone to be bred, the required breeding time is also different. Babata, take out my body, I'm going to start breeding. Babata nodded and took out Luofeng's original body. Luofeng began to breed his first clone. Soon after, he opened his eyes somewhat helpless. Luoxia asked, brother, how long will it take to breed successfully? Luofeng sighed, it will take 1 or 2 years, if my cultivation level improves, this time can be shortened. For example, if it reaches the star level, it can breed the clone of the earthling in 1 or 2 months. Babata asked, Luofeng, even if the bloodline of the golden horned beast is strong, it is difficult to reach the star level quickly, right? That's right. Generally speaking, it takes 10 years for the golden horned beast, which does not eat eggshells and only eats ordinary metals, to reach the star level. But I ate eggshells, and next, as long as I eat a lot of ordinary metals, I can reach the star level in 1 year. Luofeng sighed. Hearing that Su Xian had her own child, Luofeng wanted to go back now. Every minute and every second at the moment was a torment for him. But he also knew that if he appeared as a golden horned beast, it would only scare Su Xian and his family. Therefore, no matter how much he wanted to go back, Luofeng could only endure it now. Brother, does your swallowing talent mean that the better the metal you swallow, the faster your strength will increase? Luoxia suddenly asked. Luofeng nodded and said, yes, but now the metals on the earth are basically in the hands of humans. There are not many metals outside the human base city. If I want to increase my strength by devouring metals, some trouble. It was impossible for him to go to humans for metal. With his current appearance, I am afraid that humans will fire laser cannons as soon as they see him. Luo Feng's body just turned into a golden-horned giant beast. The soul is still human. He did not want to conflict with his compatriots. Luo Xia touched his chin and said, I can buy metals, but if you want to increase your strength to stellar level in a short period of time, I'm afraid the quality of those metals cannot be achieved. Babata nodded, yes, the quality of the metals on Earth, even if you include those alloys, is at most a 6 level. And with the technological strength of your Earth, it is very difficult to mass produce a 6 level alloys. It's simply impossible for you to reach star level in a short time. Speaking of this, Babata suddenly thought deeply and then said, I do know that there is a large amount of 8th-grade metal black iron left by the Silver Blue Empire on Mars. But the problem is that we don't have a spaceship now, so we can't go to Mars at all. Rorschach said, aren't there some ancient civilization ruins on the Earth that have not yet been explored? Are there intact spaceships in those ruins? If so, we can go directly to Mars. Babata frowned, it's indeed possible. She moved her little hand in the void, and the ruins of various ancient civilizations that had been explored on the Earth suddenly appeared in front of her. These are the various ruins discovered by you humans. Most of the ruins have been explored, and there are no intact spacecrafts. Only the ruins code-named, number 1, number 12, and number 31 have not yet been explored. Everyone who entered these 3 ruins has died. It is the Earth, the 3 most desperate situations on Earth. Babata looked at Luo Xia and Luo Feng solemnly, and continued, ruins number 1 and ruin number 31 are both truly desperate situations. Cosmic level experts will die if they go there, so the only ruin number 12 we can go to now. Relic number 12. Rorschach looked at the information on the virtual projection and nodded, then go and have a look at this ruins. Otherwise, by the time you build the spaceship, my nephew and the others will all be in trouble. Babata spread his hands and said, I don't know yet whether there is an intact spaceship in ruin no 12. Go and have a look. Anyway, I have nothing to do now, Luo Xia said, turning to look at Luo Feng, brother, then you can practice here first, and Babata and I will go to ruin no 12. Luo Feng nodded his huge head and said, pay attention to safety. If it's too dangerous, just come back and don't show off. Well, don't worry, Babata and I are leaving. Rorschach took Babata, said goodbye to Luo Feng, and flew towards ruin number 12. It just so happens that the location of ruin number 12 is under the Pacific Ocean, not far from the Hawaiian Islands. Rorschach also discovered the golden horned beast's egg in that sea area. Rorschach, ruin number 12 is just below this location. On the turbulent sea, Babata pointed out the specific location of ruin number 12 to Rorschach. You need to go deep to the seabed of about 5,100 meters first. When you see the seabed, you have to continue diving until you reach 3,000 meters, and you can see the number 12 ruins. Rorschach nodded, I understand. The black god suit combined with Moyandeng enveloped him, turning him into a black and purple armor. He plunged into the sea with a sudden thrust. There are countless sea beasts in the sea. Luo Xia controls the arc blade and dives, killing all the sea beasts he encounters along the way. Blood spread like red ink in the sea water. Rorschach continued to dive, and soon he reached the seabed at about 5,000 meters and saw the huge seabed below. Speaking of which, how did we humans discover ruin number 12 in such a deep place? Rorschach asked doubtfully as he broke through the rocks on the seabed and dived to a depth of 3,000 meters below. Of course it was detected using instruments found in other alien ruins. Babata said, except for those like me who can actively isolate signals and disguise them so that you humans cannot detect them, you have basically discovered all the other ruins on the Earth. So that's it, Luo Xia nodded. Babata said at this time, we are here. Rorschach immediately slowed down and stopped. In his mental perception, the battleship was so huge that even his mental power could not completely cover it. Tisk, it's bigger than the interstellar transport ship owned by the museum owner. Wow! We are in the right place, Babita suddenly became excited. When Rorschach entered the battleship along the damaged opening, she said, "This is a Starfleet mothership." Her figure appeared next to Rorschach, her beautiful eyes looking at the alloy wall inside the battleship. This mothership is 16,000 meters long, 3,200 meters wide and 800 meters high. Babita slowly told the data of this mothership, with an excited look on his face. It is very likely that it retains an intact spacecraft. We are right? Wait for me to scan it. Babita closed his eyes and began to detect the situation of the mothership. Well, most of the weapons have been dismantled, and the weapons that have not been dismantled are also rotten. Well, my detector cannot detect the deeper places. It seems that we can only move forward and see our luck. Is it good enough? Rorschach, keep going along this passage, said Babita. Rorschach nodded and followed her instructions, moving along the passage. Moment. Rorschach and Babita arrive at a secret, huge cabin. In this cabin, parked is a flying saucer-shaped spacecraft with a diameter of about 100 meters. The whole body of the spacecraft is black. Although it is unknown how long it has been parked here, the corrosion of its fuselage is so small that it is almost negligible. On the hull of the spaceship, there is also a pattern of a double-winged dragon printed on it. Haha, Babita, isn't this a complete spaceship? Rorschach said happily after seeing the black spaceship. Babita looked at the spaceship in front of him with a surprised expression, and said excitedly, "Who would have thought of this? We would encounter a Black Dragon Mountain X-81 here. This is the famous universe of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Adventure spaceship." Rorschach looked at Babita and asked, "Babita, do you know this spaceship?" "Of course I know you." Babita put his hands on his hips and looked at the black flying saucer-shaped spaceship in front of him and said, "This spaceship is very famous throughout the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Only cosmic-level experts or those with a good background can buy this spaceship." She looked at He Longshan X-81 happily and said with a smile, "With this X-81, I don't have to work hard to build a spaceship from scratch. I only need to invade the intelligence system of this X-81 model spaceship, conquer its system, and then transform it. Soon, we can take it on an adventure in the universe." Rorschach had already found the entrance to the spaceship at this time. This seems to be the cabin entrance of the spaceship. Babita flew to Rorschach at this time, looked at the cabin entrance of the spacecraft, and said, "I have seen the internal structure of the X-81 spacecraft, and this is indeed the hatch entrance. When you open the entrance to this hatch, you will see a laser channel. According to the design, those lasers can easily kill 5th and 6th level planetary gene warriors. After passing through the laser channel, you will encounter a gate. Only by opening that gate can you successfully enter the interior of the spacecraft." Babita waved her little hand, and a three-dimensional virtual projection of the internal structure of the spacecraft appeared in front of Rorschach. Her finger pointed at the position of the gate and continued, "That's the difficulty. This gate is very difficult. Without activating the switch, it can only be opened with brute force. But if you want to lift this gate, you must at least reach the level of a stellar 4th order warrior." Rorschach blinked. He is now a planet-level 4th level warrior. Even if he has 16 times the power burst, he still cannot reach the 4th level star level power. Then it can only be destroyed head-on. Luo Xia frowned and said, "I use the domain, kamikaze legs and 16 times the force, plus the red mixed copper mother, I should be able to directly blow up the gate." "No, no, no," Babita waved his hand quickly, "we will still use this Black Dragon Mountain X-81 in the future. If you broke it, it will be very troublesome to repair. Just use this." She suddenly reached out and took out an axe-like tool from the storage space. "What is this?" Luo Xia took it and asked curiously. "Julie Jack," Babata explained, "it is based on the same principle as the jack on your Earth. It is a tool usually used to repair the spacecraft. If you use it, you should be able to jack up the gate." She pointed to Rorschach. "Just insert the ultra-thin side into the gap between the gate and the ground." "Understood." Rorschach nodded, put away the giant force, then stepped forward, inserted his hands into the gap of the spacecraft hatch, and with one force, the hatch opened with a clicking sound. Rorschach entered the hatch. In front of him was a passage about 30 meters long. On both sides of the passage, there are dense holes. This channel is the laser channel. Through it, you can reach the gate of the spaceship. Call. Looking at the laser channel, Rorschach took a deep breath. The next second, the gray field centered on him and spread to all sides, covering the entire laser channel. Kamikaze legs activated. 16 times faster. Call out. Rorschach disappeared in place, and when he reappeared, he had passed through the laser channel and arrived in front of the gate. The whole process was like teleporting. With the blessing of the domain and kamikaze legs, he passed through the laser channel at such a speed that he didn't even have time to react. "It's very easy." Rorschach smiled, bent down and put the giant force into the gap between the gate and the ground. Babata appeared next to him and said, "That is to say, you have the power of the speed field and the kamikaze leg. If it were Hong and Thor, they would also suffer some losses in this laser channel." When she spoke, a heartbreaking voice sounded. Under the action of the giant jack, the thick gate slowly rose, revealing a space that could barely allow a person to pass through while lying down. Did Rorschach hesitate? His feet slipped and he was already close to the ground and rushed into the spacecraft. Boom! Babata put away the huge force, and the gate crashed down. We have now entered the interior of the Helongshan X-81 spacecraft. Now we set out for the command room. As long as the signaler is inserted into the intelligent system interface of the spacecraft, I can overcome its intelligent defense and control the entire spacecraft. Clear. Go this way. Under the guidance of Babata, Rorschach walked towards the control room of the spacecraft. At the same time, in the command room of the spacecraft, the screen on the console suddenly lit up, and then a large number of words in the universal language appeared. Translated into Chinese it means, "Human planetary spiritual master breaks in. The threat level is weak. Kill, kill." After these words emerged, the light suddenly turned on in a closed room on the ground floor of Helongshan X-81. In this room, the eyes of 3 metal robots that were motionless suddenly lit up. Click, click, click. As the energy in their bodies began to circulate, the 3 robots began to turn into 3 streams of light one after another, left the room, and headed towards Rorschach's location. Rorschach was moving forward according to Babata's instructions when suddenly Babata said, "Rorschach, there are 3 robots coming from behind." Luo Xia turned around and saw 3 black streams of light coming towards him. Thanks to the book friend Positive Energy CE for the 100 reading coins. Thank you so much. Then I sincerely apologize to everyone. The update of 20,000 words a day is still a bit reluctant, and my fingers hurt too much. I'm really sorry to everyone. Sorry.